Have you ever felt like the weight of the world is pressing down on you, leaving you paralyzed by indecision and frustration? Life can often feel like an unrelenting tide, pushing us in directions we never chose, making us question our control over our own destiny. But what if I told you that the key to mastering life isn't about avoiding the tide, but learning how to navigate it with purpose and resilience? Responsibility is not just a burden, it's the foundation of an unshakable character. It's the armor that shields us from chaos, the compass that guides us toward meaning, and the bridge that connects us to our fullest potential. The philosophy of Stoicism teaches us that taking responsibility isn't about self-criticism or blame, but about embracing the power we have to shape our lives despite the odds. In this video, we're going to dive into 50 practical, Stoic-inspired ways to take responsibility for your life and become truly unbreakable. Whether it's about mastering your emotions, staying grounded under pressure, or building habits that transform your potential, these strategies will help you take control, own your actions, and thrive in any situation. But before we start, let me share a story that encapsulates the essence of responsibility and resilience. In a bustling city, there lived a man named Marcus, known by his neighbors as someone who always seemed to have the worst luck. His business ventures failed, his relationships fell apart, and his finances were a mess. Marcus often sat at the local cafe, shaking his head and lamenting how unfair life had been to him. One day, a retired craftsman named Claudius, who often watched Marcus from afar, decided to strike up a conversation. He approached Marcus with a warm smile and said, "You seem troubled, young man. What weighs so heavily on your mind?" Marcus sighed and began listing all his misfortunes, blaming his family, his friends, the economy, and even the weather for his failures. Claudius listened patiently and, when Marcus finished, placed a small, well-worn hammer on the table. "This hammer," Claudius began, "is over 40 years old. It built homes, repaired furniture, and even carved sculptures. Every dent and scratch on its surface tells a story of effort and purpose. Do you know what makes this hammer special?" Marcus shook his head. "It never blamed the nail for being too strong or the wood for being too tough. Its purpose wasn't to complain, but to strike with precision, to keep working until the job was done. When things didn't go as planned, it adjusted, sharpened its edges, improved its aim, and adapted to the task. The hammer took responsibility for its role, and in doing so, it built a legacy that outlived its maker." Claudius leaned closer and said, "Life is the same. You can either be the hammer, shaping your destiny, or the rust, blaming the elements for your decay. The choice is yours." Struck by the simplicity of the metaphor, Marcus decided to change his approach. He stopped blaming others and started examining his own habits, decisions, and mindset. Slowly but surely, his life transformed. His business flourished, his relationships deepened, and his sense of self-worth grew unshakable. From that day on, Marcus wasn't just known as a man with bad luck. He became a symbol of resilience and responsibility for everyone around him. Let Marcus's story remind us of the power we hold to change our lives when we stop looking outward for solutions and start taking responsibility for our actions. With that mindset, let's dive into the 50 smart ways to take responsibility and become unbreakable with the wisdom of Stoicism. 1. Own your emotions, the key to inner strength. It's easy to fall into the trap of believing that external forces control how we feel. A rude remark, a traffic jam, or an unexpected criticism often seems to dictate our emotions. We blame circumstances and people, feeling powerless to change the way we react. Yet, Stoicism teaches us a profound truth. Your emotions are your responsibility. No one can make you feel something unless you allow it. This realization can be both liberating and daunting. On one hand, it places the power to master your emotions firmly in your hands. On the other, it leaves you with the undeniable truth that how you feel is a choice you must make every day. This idea is not about denying emotions or suppressing them, but rather about understanding and mastering them. Marcus Aurelius, the renowned Stoic philosopher, captured this perfectly when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." What he meant was that your emotional state is determined not by what happens to you, but by how you interpret and respond to it. If you react to criticism with anger or feel devastated by setbacks, it is not the event itself, but your perception of it that creates the emotion. Recognizing this is the first step to reclaiming your emotional sovereignty. When you allow external events to dictate your emotions, you surrender control over your inner world. Imagine giving a stranger the keys to your home and then blaming them for the chaos they create. This is what happens when you let the world outside dictate your mood, thoughts, and actions. In contrast, when you take responsibility for your emotions, you regain the ability to choose how to respond, regardless of the circumstances. Picture yourself as a sailor navigating a storm. The waves and wind are out of your control, but how you handle the sails determines whether you reach the shore or capsize. This is the essence of emotional ownership, learning to steer your internal ship through external tempests. Mastering your emotions is not an overnight transformation. It begins with awareness, recognizing the triggers that spark strong reactions. When you feel anger, frustration, or sadness, pause for a moment. Ask yourself why you feel that way. Is it the situation itself, or is it your interpretation of it? This reflection often reveals deeper truths about unresolved insecurities, unmet expectations, or fears. By identifying these triggers, you can start to disarm their power over you. The next step is to create space between the event and your reaction. When something upsetting happens, take a deep breath. This moment of pause allows you to step back and assess the situation before reacting impulsively. In this space, you find the freedom to choose a response that aligns with your values, rather than letting emotions take control. Instead of lashing out in anger or retreating into sadness, you can respond with composure and clarity. Changing how you interpret events is another powerful tool. Often, our emotions are shaped by the stories we tell ourselves about what's happening. If someone cuts you off in traffic, you might think, "That person is disrespectful," and feel anger rising. But if you reframe the story, perhaps they're rushing to a hospital or simply made a mistake, the anger dissipates. This shift in narrative can transform your emotional experience, allowing you to respond with understanding instead of frustration. Taking ownership of your emotions requires practice and patience. It means reflecting on past reactions and learning from them. Each time you feel overwhelmed or reactive, ask yourself what you can learn from the experience. Over time, this process turns emotional challenges into opportunities for growth. You begin to see each difficulty as a chance to strengthen your emotional resilience. The benefits of owning your emotions are profound. When you stop blaming others or external events, you reclaim the power to shape your inner world. You become less reactive and more composed, even in the face of adversity. Your relationships improve as you take responsibility for your feelings instead of projecting them onto others. Most importantly, you develop a deep sense of inner peace, knowing that you are no longer at the mercy of the world around you. This journey is not without its challenges. Life will continue to test your patience and resilience, but with each trial, you grow stronger, more self-aware, and more in control. The storm may rage, but you are the sailor who knows how to navigate it. Remember, as Marcus Aurelius said, choose not to be harmed, and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed, and you haven't been. The power to master your emotions lies within you. It is your greatest strength, your unshakable foundation in a chaotic world. 2. Embrace the power of choice. Freedom lies in responsibility. Every day, life presents you with countless choices, both big and small. From what to eat for breakfast to how to respond to a difficult conversation, each decision shapes the trajectory of your life. Yet, many people move through life on autopilot, unaware of the immense power they hold in these moments. Stoicism teaches us that freedom lies in our ability to take responsibility for these choices. You may not control what happens to you, but you always control how you respond. This truth is both empowering and humbling. It means that your life is a reflection of the decisions you make or fail to make. It's tempting to blame circumstances, luck, or other people for our struggles. We say things like, "I can't succeed because of my upbringing," or "I'm unhappy because of my partner's behavior." While these factors can influence our lives, they do not determine them. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, captured this idea beautifully when he wrote, "Everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances." Even in the darkest of times, Frankl found that his power to choose how he viewed his suffering gave him a sense of freedom no one could take away. This principle applies to all aspects of life. When faced with adversity, you can choose to see it as an opportunity for growth or as an insurmountable obstacle. When someone treats you unfairly, you can choose to respond with grace or with bitterness. Each choice, no matter how small, reinforces the kind of person you're becoming. Over time, these choices add up, creating a life that reflects either intentionality or passivity. Taking responsibility for your choices means accepting that where you are today is the result of decisions you've made. This can be a hard pill to swallow, especially when life feels overwhelming, but it's also incredibly empowering. If your choices got you here, different choices can take you somewhere better. The first step is to stop blaming external factors and start looking inward. What decisions are you making or avoiding that are keeping you stuck? What habits or mindsets are holding you back? Honest self-reflection is essential for taking responsibility and reclaiming your freedom. When you embrace the power of choice, you begin to see every challenge as an opportunity to grow. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause and ask yourself, what decision aligns with my values and goals? This mindset shifts you from being a passive participant in your life to an active creator of it. It also helps you navigate uncertainty with confidence, knowing that your choices, not your circumstances, define your path. The road to taking full responsibility is not without its challenges. It requires humility to admit when you've made mistakes and courage to make changes. It's far easier to blame others or external forces than to take ownership of your role in your struggles. But true freedom comes from accepting this responsibility. It liberates you from the victim mentality and empowers you to create a life of purpose and fulfillment. The rewards of embracing choice are immense. You gain clarity and direction, knowing that your life is a reflection of your values and decisions. You build resilience, learning to adapt and thrive even in difficult circumstances. Most importantly, you experience a profound sense of empowerment, knowing that you have the power to shape your destiny. Life will always present challenges, but how you respond to them is entirely up to you. The freedom to choose is your greatest gift and your greatest responsibility. Use it wisely, and you will discover a strength within you that is truly unbreakable. As Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. In every moment, you hold the power to choose. Let that power guide you to a life of courage, wisdom, and resilience. 3. Courage doesn't stem from safety or security. Courage is often mistaken for the absence of fear. People envision bravery as a shield that protects against vulnerability or a state of mind where fear simply doesn't exist. But the Stoics understood courage differently. They saw it not as the eradication of fear, but as the decision to act in spite of it. Real courage doesn't come from the comfort of safety or the illusion of security. Instead, it is born in the moments of uncertainty, when the outcome is unknown and you still choose to move forward. Consider for a moment the times in your life when you felt the most courageous. Were you in a position of absolute certainty, shielded from risk? Likely not. True courage arises when you step into the unknown, face adversity head-on, and take responsibility for your actions, even when you're afraid. This is why the Stoics placed so much emphasis on developing an inner fortitude that isn't dependent on external conditions. They believe that safety and security often lull people into complacency, while challenge and uncertainty awaken the spirit of courage. Courage is about embracing the inevitability of discomfort and using it as a catalyst for growth. Imagine standing at the edge of a high diving board. Your mind is racing with fears of what could go wrong, the cold shock of the water, the sting of the impact, the judgment of onlookers. Yet, if you choose to jump, you embody courage. The leap doesn't erase the fear, but it transforms it into action. This is the essence of bravery, the ability to act despite your doubts and anxieties. Safety and security, while comforting, often become prisons that prevent us from living fully. When we cling to these illusions, we avoid risks and challenges that might lead to failure or discomfort. But in doing so, we also miss the opportunities for growth and transformation that lie on the other side of fear. The Stoics remind us that life's greatest rewards are often hidden behind the very obstacles we try to avoid. Courage is the key that unlocks these rewards, allowing us to step beyond our limitations. Developing courage doesn't mean recklessly throwing yourself into danger. It means cultivating the strength to face what needs to be faced, even when it's hard. It's about preparing your mind and spirit to endure life's uncertainties without being paralyzed by them. This preparation begins with small acts of bravery. Each time you confront a fear, no matter how minor, you train yourself to handle bigger challenges. Whether it's speaking your mind in a difficult conversation, pursuing a dream that feels out of reach, or standing up for what you believe in, these moments build the foundation of your courage. One of the greatest barriers to courage is the fear of failure. We worry about making mistakes, looking foolish, or falling short of our goals. But the Stoics teach us that failure is not the enemy. It is a teacher, a necessary part of growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." These words remind us that courage isn't about avoiding failure, but enduring and learning from it. Each setback becomes an opportunity to build resilience and refine your approach. Courage also requires letting go of the need for approval. Many people hesitate to act boldly because they fear judgment or rejection. They trade authenticity for the comfort of acceptance, but this comes at a cost. By seeking safety in others' opinions, they lose touch with their true selves. Courage means standing firm in your convictions, even when it makes you unpopular. It means valuing your principles over the fleeting approval of others. Ultimately, courage is a muscle that grows stronger with use. The more you practice facing your fears, the less power they hold over you. Over time, you develop an inner strength that allows you to navigate life's challenges with grace and confidence. You realize that safety and security are not the sources of courage. They are its antithesis. True courage emerges when you step out of your comfort zone, embrace uncertainty, and trust in your ability to persevere. The world will always present you with opportunities to be brave. When those moments arise, remember that courage isn't about eliminating fear. It's about acting in spite of it. As Seneca said, "Sometimes even to live is an act of courage." Let this truth guide you, and you will discover a reservoir of strength you never knew you had. 4. Compromising silences. Authenticity. Compromise is often seen as a virtue. In relationships, in work, and in daily life, we are taught that meeting others halfway is a sign of maturity and cooperation. While compromise has its place, there is a darker side to it that often goes unnoticed. When we compromise too much, especially on our values, beliefs, or identity, we risk silencing our authenticity. The Stoics believed that living in alignment with one's true self, one's principles and inner convictions, is the cornerstone of a meaningful life. Compromising that authenticity, even for the sake of peace or acceptance, is a betrayal of the self. Authenticity is not about stubbornly refusing to bend or being rigid in your beliefs. It is about knowing who you are and staying true to that, even when it's difficult. It means having the courage to express your thoughts, feelings, and values without fear of rejection or judgment. But in a world that often rewards conformity, staying authentic can feel like swimming against the tide. The pressure to fit in, to be agreeable, or to avoid conflict can lead to compromises that chip away at your true self. Imagine a musician who loves classical compositions but decides to create pop songs because they're more commercially viable. At first, the decision seems harmless, a practical move to gain wider appeal. But over time, they begin to feel disconnected from their art, realizing they've sacrificed their passion for external validation. This is what happens when you compromise your authenticity. Each small concession may seem insignificant in the moment, but collectively, they create a life that feels hollow and unfulfilled. The Stoics teach us that integrity is non-negotiable. Living authentically means aligning your actions with your values, even when it's inconvenient or unpopular. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never esteem anything as of advantage to you that will make you break your word or lose your self-respect." These words remind us that no external reward is worth the cost of betraying who we truly are. When you compromise your authenticity, you may gain short-term approval or avoid conflict, but the long-term consequences are far more damaging. You start to feel disconnected from yourself, uncertain of your values and beliefs. This inner dissonance can lead to frustration, resentment, and a sense of emptiness. Worse, it creates a cycle where you become increasingly reliant on external validation to fill the void, further distancing yourself from your true self. Reclaiming your authenticity requires courage and self-awareness. It means setting boundaries and being honest about your needs, even when it's uncomfortable. It means saying no when something doesn't align with your values, even if it disappoints others. This honesty is not an act of selfishness, but of self-respect. By staying true to yourself, you inspire others to do the same, creating relationships and environments built on mutual respect and understanding. Living authentically also requires letting go of the fear of judgment. The truth is, no matter how much you compromise, there will always be people who disapprove of you. Trying to please everyone is an impossible task, and in the process, you risk losing yourself. Instead, focus on living in a way that feels true to you. The people who genuinely value you will appreciate your authenticity, while those who don't are not worth the compromise. The path to authenticity is not always easy, but it is deeply rewarding. When you stop compromising on what matters most to you, you regain a sense of clarity and purpose. Your decisions become more aligned with your values, and your relationships become more genuine. You stop living for others and start living for yourself, creating a life that feels honest and fulfilling. As Epictetus said, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." Authenticity is not something you earn, it is something you already possess. It is the act of stripping away the masks and pretenses to reveal your true self. The world may try to silence your authenticity, but it is up to you to keep it alive. Stand firm in your truth, and you will find a freedom and strength that no compromise can offer. 5. Societal lies. Harm. Long-term fulfillment. Society often paints a picture of what success should look like, a checklist of accomplishments that supposedly lead to happiness and contentment. Get a degree, secure a prestigious job, buy a house, and maintain a specific lifestyle. These societal narratives create an alluring promise, but many who diligently follow them discover they feel trapped rather than fulfilled. The Stoics warned against chasing external validations. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This profound reminder underscores the importance of prioritizing intrinsic values over fleeting societal expectations. Genuine fulfillment, the Stoics teach us, arises not from conforming to external metrics, but from living in alignment with one's own principles. One of the most pervasive societal lies is the glorification of material wealth. People exhaust themselves in careers they dislike, sacrificing time, health, and relationships to accumulate possessions. While material comfort has its place, it cannot replace inner peace or a sense of purpose. Stoic wisdom reminds us that wealth is indifferent, neither inherently good nor bad. Its value depends entirely on how we use it. Another trap of societal lies is the culture of comparison, magnified in the age of social media. Scrolling through curated snapshots of others' lives can lead to feelings of inadequacy. But Epictetus reminds us, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Shifting focus inward and rejecting the need to measure oneself against others is a vital step toward reclaiming your autonomy and peace of mind. Breaking free from these lies requires a willingness to question the narratives we've absorbed. Are your goals genuinely your own, or are they borrowed from societal expectations? Reflect deeply on what brings you true joy and fulfillment. For many, the answers lie in simpler, more meaningful pursuits. Time spent with loved ones, creative endeavors, or contributing to something larger than oneself. Living authentically in a world that rewards conformity takes courage. It involves choosing a path that may diverge from societal norms and enduring the judgment that often comes with it. Yet, the Stoics teach us that the opinions of others are beyond our control and therefore unworthy of concern. True freedom lies in living according to your values, not in seeking external approval. By rejecting superficial measures of success and focusing on inner growth and authenticity, you dismantle the power of societal lies. As Seneca wisely stated, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. When you align your actions with your values, you unlock a fulfillment that no societal script can provide. 6. Career-focused women often face a family. Career conflict by age 30. The ideal of having it all, a thriving career, a loving family and a balanced life, has been sold to women as both an aspiration and a benchmark of success. Yet, as many approach their 30s, they find this ideal fraught with challenges, torn between career ambitions and family aspirations. In the professional sphere, women are encouraged to push boundaries, break glass ceilings, and pursue their goals with relentless ambition. At the same time, societal norms often pull them toward traditional roles, emphasizing family and caregiving. This dual pressure creates a constant juggling act that can leave many feeling exhausted and conflicted. The Stoics offer guidance for navigating this complex dynamic. Epictetus reminds us to focus on what is within our control, urging individuals to clarify their values and make decisions accordingly. For some women, family might take precedence, necessitating career adjustments. For others, career growth may be the priority, with family aspirations deferred or redefined. Both paths are valid as long as they align with one's principles and desires. Fear of judgment exacerbates the conflict. Women are frequently criticized regardless of their choices. Those who prioritize work may be seen as neglectful, while those who focus on family risk being labeled unambitious. Marcus Aurelius provides a liberating perspective. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Releasing the need for external approval is key to navigating these challenges with confidence. Practical strategies can help alleviate the tension. Flexible work arrangements, setting clear boundaries, and seeking support from partners or communities are essential tools. Importantly, balance does not require perfection. There will be seasons where one aspect of life demands more attention than another, and embracing this fluidity is part of the process. Stoicism encourages acceptance of life's imperfections, teaching us to approach challenges with grace and resilience. Ultimately, the solution lies in redefining what success means on an individual level. Whether that involves pursuing an ambitious career, building a family, or creating a unique combination of both, the choice should reflect personal values rather than societal expectations. Seneca aptly wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." By following this advice, career-focused women can navigate the family-career conflict with clarity and empowerment, creating a life that feels both intentional and fulfilling. 7. Hypergamy creates social and relational imbalances. Hypergamy, the tendency to seek a partner of higher social or economic status, has existed for centuries. On the surface, it might appear as a harmless instinct, a natural drive to secure stability or improvement. However, when viewed through the lens of social and relational dynamics, Hypergamy reveals itself as a double-edged sword, contributing to imbalances that ripple through modern relationships and society at large. At its core, hypergamy is rooted in a desire for self-preservation and enhancement. Historically, women often sought partners with greater resources or status to ensure security for themselves and their offspring. While understandable in its original context, this instinct carries significant implications in a contemporary world where gender roles and societal structures are rapidly evolving. The modern workplace has empowered individuals, yet the lingering pull of hypergamy often leads to mismatches between expectations and reality. One notable impact of hypergamy is the pressure it places on relationships. For those seeking partners perceived as higher status, there is a constant negotiation between aspirations and availability. This can result in feelings of inadequacy or frustration, especially for individuals who feel they don't meet the unspoken standards of desirability. On the flip side, those viewed as high-status partners may face undue pressure, becoming objects of pursuit rather than equals in relationships. Hypergamy also contributes to broader societal issues. When individuals prioritize status over genuine connection, relationships become transactional, reducing intimacy and authenticity. Moreover, this dynamic creates an environment of competition, where people measure their worth based on external markers rather than intrinsic qualities. This not only breeds dissatisfaction, but also fosters inequality, as it reinforces hierarchies instead of challenging them. The Stoics would caution against letting hypergamy dominate one's choices. Marcus Aurelius reminds us to focus on our virtues and inner character rather than external validation. A fulfilling relationship isn't built on status. It's built on mutual respect, shared values, and emotional depth. When we prioritize these qualities, we transcend the limitations of hypergamy, fostering connections that are authentic and enduring. Ultimately, breaking free from the constraints of hypergamy requires a shift in mindset. It involves recognizing the societal pressures that perpetuate these dynamics and consciously choosing to value partners for who they are, not what they represent. By embracing this perspective, individuals can form healthier relationships and contribute to a more equitable and compassionate society. 8. Population collapse is an imminent challenge. In an age where overpopulation often dominates the global narrative, the quieter yet pressing concern of population collapse is frequently overlooked. While declining birth rates might seem like a solution to overcrowding, they pose significant challenges to the economic, social, and cultural fabric of societies. Without intervention, this silent crisis threatens to reshape the future in ways that are as profound as they are unpredictable. At the heart of the issue lies a paradox. Modern advancements, particularly in education, healthcare, and gender equality, have contributed to a dramatic decrease in birth rates. While these developments are undeniably positive, they also create a gap between population sustainability and economic demands. Fewer births mean fewer individuals to sustain the workforce, support aging populations, and drive innovation. The result is a demographic imbalance that places an unsustainable burden on younger generations. Population collapse also challenges cultural continuity. As birth rates decline, traditions, languages, and community structures risk erosion. Smaller families and dispersed communities can weaken intergenerational bonds, leading to a loss of shared identity and heritage. In a world that increasingly values individualism, the collective impact of this shift is often underestimated. The Stoics offer valuable insights into how to navigate such challenges. Their philosophy emphasizes preparation, resilience, and adaptability in the face of uncertainty. Rather than succumbing to despair over demographic trends, societies can adopt proactive measures to address the root causes of declining birth rates. Policies that support work-life balance, affordable childcare, and economic stability can empower individuals to build families without sacrificing their personal or professional aspirations. Moreover, the solution to population collapse isn't solely about increasing birth rates. It's also about fostering communities that are inclusive and adaptable. Encouraging immigration, embracing diversity, and investing in education and healthcare can help balance demographic shifts while enriching society as a whole. The Stoic principle of focusing on what we can control reminds us that while we cannot reverse global trends overnight, we can take meaningful steps to mitigate their effects. Population collapse is a complex issue with no easy solutions. However, by recognizing its significance and addressing it with foresight and compassion, societies can navigate this challenge with resilience. As Marcus Aurelius observed, "What stands in the way becomes the way." This impending crisis, while daunting, can serve as a catalyst for innovation and growth, ensuring a sustainable and thriving future for generations to come. 9. Educational success can hinder personal fulfillment. In a world where academic achievement is often heralded as the ultimate gateway to success, it's easy to equate educational success with a fulfilled and meaningful life. Degrees, accolades, and honors are worn like badges of accomplishment, signaling a person's worth and capability. Yet, the Stoics and countless philosophers caution against this overemphasis on external markers of success, reminding us that true fulfillment lies not in the applause of others, but in living a life of purpose and authenticity. Educational systems, for all their merits, can sometimes trap individuals in a cycle of external validation. From a young age, we're conditioned to chase grades, meet expectations, and outperform peers. While these pursuits foster discipline and critical thinking, they can also overshadow the development of self-awareness and inner fulfillment. The result? A generation of high achievers who are disconnected from their own passions and values, measuring their worth by diplomas and societal standards. Consider the story of a student who excels academically, graduating at the top of their class. From the outside, their life seems enviable, a promising career, prestige, and admiration. Yet internally, they may struggle with feelings of emptiness or directionlessness, having spent years fulfilling others' expectations while neglecting their own desires. This dissonance is a stark reminder that educational success, while valuable, is not synonymous with personal fulfillment. The Stoics teach us that the true measure of success lies in living a life aligned with one's values. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This wisdom urges us to prioritize personal growth and authenticity over societal approval. Education should serve as a tool for self-discovery, not as a shackle that binds us to a narrow definition of success. Breaking free from the constraints of educational achievement requires a shift in mindset. It involves viewing learning as a lifelong journey, not a finite series of milestones. It's about seeking knowledge for its intrinsic value, rather than for the rewards it may bring. This perspective empowers individuals to explore their passions, embrace curiosity, and redefine success on their own terms. Ultimately, educational success is only one piece of the puzzle. Personal fulfillment arises from a balanced life, where external accomplishments complement rather than overshadow inner growth. By aligning education with purpose, we can transform it into a pathway to genuine happiness and meaning. 10. Identity. Confusion is a psychological epidemic. In an age of unprecedented connectivity and rapid cultural shifts, the quest for identity has become more complex than ever. Social media, globalization, and evolving societal norms offer endless possibilities for self-expression. Yet, they also create an environment where identity confusion thrives. This psychological epidemic leaves many individuals feeling untethered, searching for a sense of self in a world that bombards them with conflicting messages about who they should be. Identity confusion arises when individuals struggle to reconcile their internal sense of self with external pressures and expectations. The Stoics recognized this challenge, emphasizing the importance of self-knowledge and inner clarity as the foundation of a meaningful life. Epictetus wrote, "Know first who you are, and then adorn yourself accordingly." In today's world, where identity is often shaped by comparison and conformity, this wisdom is more relevant than ever. Social media plays a significant role in fueling identity confusion. The curated lives of others create an illusion of perfection, making individuals question their own worth and choices. Every scroll through a feed can feel like a reminder of what one lacks: beauty, success, adventure. This comparison fosters a sense of inadequacy, eroding confidence and blurring the boundaries of authentic identity. Cultural shifts further complicate the search for self. Traditional roles and values, once anchors of identity, are now fluid and open to interpretation. While this flexibility allows for greater self-expression, it also places the burden of choice on the individual, leading to feelings of overwhelm and indecision. Without a clear framework, many struggle to define who they are and what they stand for. The Stoics offer a path out of this maze. They remind us that identity is not something bestowed by the outside world, but something cultivated from within. By focusing on virtues like wisdom, courage, and integrity, individuals can build an identity rooted in principles rather than appearances. This inner foundation provides stability in a world of constant change, allowing people to navigate life with confidence and purpose. Reclaiming one's identity requires introspection and the courage to resist external pressures. It means asking hard questions. What do I value? What brings me joy? What kind of person do I want to be? These inquiries lead to a deeper understanding of the self, freeing individuals from the need to conform or seek validation. Ultimately, the epidemic of identity confusion is a call to return to the fundamentals of self-awareness and authenticity. By embracing these principles, individuals can find clarity amidst the chaos, rediscovering who they are and what truly matters to them. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into yourself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." 11. Psychological contagion causes widespread harm. In an interconnected world, emotions and behaviors spread like wildfire. This phenomenon, known as psychological contagion, occurs when individuals unconsciously adopt the attitudes, emotions, or behaviors of those around them. While this social mirroring can foster connection and empathy, it also carries the risk of amplifying negative emotions and destructive patterns, often to a harmful extent. The Stoics were acutely aware of the influence others have on our minds. They taught that maintaining control over one's thoughts and emotions is essential for living a virtuous and meaningful life. Seneca warned, "Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve." This advice is a reminder that the company we keep shapes not only our actions, but also our internal world. Consider how negativity spreads in a workplace. A single person's complaints about their job can quickly infect others, creating a toxic environment where dissatisfaction becomes the norm. Similarly, on social media, one polarizing opinion or emotionally charged post can cascade into widespread outrage, division, or anxiety. This ripple effect of emotions doesn't just affect the immediate participants. It seeps into their interactions with others, perpetuating cycles of harm. The danger of psychological contagion lies in its subtlety. People often don't realize they're absorbing the stress, fear, or anger of those around them. The Stoics taught that mindfulness is the antidote to this unconscious influence. By cultivating awareness of one's own thoughts and emotions, individuals can recognize when they're being swayed by external forces and choose a more deliberate response. Breaking free from psychological contagion requires a commitment to emotional resilience and discernment. This involves setting boundaries with negative influences, whether they come from people, media, or environments. It also means actively seeking out positive and uplifting connections that encourage growth and balance. As Epictetus advised, keep company only with those who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best. Ultimately, psychological contagion reminds us of our interconnectedness. While this connection can be a source of strength and support, it also demands vigilance. By guarding our minds and choosing our influences wisely, we can reduce the spread of harm and contribute to a healthier, more balanced world. 12. Parenthood is culturally devalued. In modern society, parenthood is often viewed through a lens of sacrifice and burden, rather than as a vital and fulfilling role. While the challenges of raising children are undeniable, this cultural devaluation overlooks the profound purpose and meaning that parenthood brings, not just to individuals, but to society as a whole. The Stoics recognized the importance of nurturing future generations, viewing it as a cornerstone of responsibility, legacy, and virtue. Parenthood has become increasingly sidelined in a culture that prioritizes career achievements, personal freedom, and instant gratification. The narrative often paints children as obstacles to self-fulfillment, rather than as sources of joy, growth, and connection. This perspective not only diminishes the value of parenthood, but also places undue pressure on parents to justify their choices in a world that often fails to recognize the significance of their role. The Stoics would argue that raising children is one of the highest forms of service. Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, wrote extensively about the responsibilities of leadership, which parallel the responsibilities of parenthood. Just as a leader must guide and nurture their people, parents must guide and nurture their children, shaping them into thoughtful and virtuous individuals. Modern culture's emphasis on individualism has also contributed to the devaluation of parenthood. The sacrifices required to raise children, time, energy, and resources, are often seen as incompatible with personal ambitions. However, the Stoics remind us that fulfillment comes not from selfish pursuits, but from living in alignment with our values and responsibilities. Parenthood, while demanding, offers a unique opportunity to embody these principles, teaching patience, resilience, and unconditional love. Revaluing parenthood begins with acknowledging its importance as a societal foundation. Children are not merely personal responsibilities, they are future citizens, leaders, and innovators. By supporting parents through policies, communities, and cultural narratives, we invest in the well-being of generations to come. Parenthood should be celebrated, not diminished, as a vital contribution to the collective good. For those who are parents or aspire to be, embracing the Stoic perspective can bring clarity and purpose. Parenthood is not just a role, but a profound opportunity to live virtuously, to teach through example, and to leave a meaningful legacy. As Seneca wrote, "Life is long if you know how to use it." Parenthood is one of the most impactful ways to use life wisely, shaping the future through the care and guidance of the next generation. 13. Non-monogamy destabilizes relationships. Relationships are built on trust, commitment, and shared values. While non-monogamous arrangements have been celebrated in certain circles as expressions of personal freedom, the Stoics might view such dynamics as fraught with instability. The foundations of strong relationships, trust, mutual respect, and emotional security, are often tested in non-monogamous contexts, leading to vulnerabilities that can destabilize bonds. The Stoics emphasized the importance of harmony and unity in relationships. They understood that a shared commitment creates a sense of purpose and alignment between individuals. Marcus Aurelius observed, "We are made for cooperation, like feet, like hands, like eyelids, like the rows of the upper and lower teeth." Relationships, much like the body, require all parts to work in unison. Introducing multiple partners into an intimate bond can disrupt this unity, fostering jealousy, competition, and insecurity. Non-monogamy often challenges the emotional boundaries that protect relationships. While the pursuit of individual desires might seem liberating, it can create imbalances that leave one or both partners feeling undervalued or replaced. This erosion of exclusivity can undermine the sense of safety that monogamy provides, leading to resentment or emotional disconnection. Moreover, the Stoics championed self-discipline and the regulation of desires. They believed that unchecked passions lead to chaos and suffering, not only within individuals, but also in their relationships. Non-monogamy, by its nature, often prioritizes personal gratification over the shared growth of a partnership. This focus on individual freedom can dilute the depth and commitment that define enduring bonds. For relationships to thrive, they must be grounded in mutual respect and a willingness to prioritize the partnership over fleeting desires. Monogamy, while not without its challenges, offers a structure that supports emotional intimacy and long-term stability. It encourages partners to confront and resolve conflicts together, fostering resilience and growth. Ultimately, the Stoic approach to relationships calls for clarity, intentionality, and a focus on what truly matters. By prioritizing commitment and unity, individuals can create relationships that are not only enduring but also deeply fulfilling. Non-monogamy, while appealing to some, often sacrifices these ideals for the sake of short-term pleasures, destabilizing the very foundation of connection. 14. Hatred of humanity undermines its value. Hatred of humanity, often disguised as cynicism or misanthropy, is a sentiment that undermines the inherent value of human life. While frustrations with societal flaws or individual behaviors are understandable, harboring hatred toward humanity as a whole denies the beauty, potential, and interconnectedness that define us. The Stoics viewed humanity with a balanced perspective, acknowledging its imperfections while celebrating its capacity for virtue and progress. Misanthropy arises when one becomes disillusioned with the failings of people. Greed, cruelty, or ignorance. It's easy to see the darker side of humanity and grow resentful. However, the Stoics teach that such resentment harms not only others, but also oneself. Marcus Aurelius advised, "When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, 'The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil.'" This reflection doesn't excuse bad behavior, but fosters understanding and patience. Hatred of humanity often stems from unrealistic expectations. When people expect perfection, they are inevitably disappointed. The Stoics remind us that humans are fallible by nature, and that our task is not to condemn, but to cultivate virtue in ourselves and others. By focusing on personal growth and leading by example, we can inspire positive change rather than succumbing to bitterness. Moreover, misanthropy isolates individuals, cutting them off from the connections that bring meaning and fulfillment. Humans are inherently social beings, designed to cooperate, share, and grow together. When hatred takes root, it severs these bonds, leaving individuals lonely and disheartened. The Stoics believed that engaging with others, despite their flaws, is essential for living a virtuous life. Seneca wrote, "No one can live happily who has regard to himself alone and transforms everything into a question of his own utility." Countering hatred of humanity requires a shift in perspective. Instead of dwelling on the negatives, we can choose to see the good, the acts of kindness, resilience, and creativity that people demonstrate daily. By cultivating gratitude for these moments, we can restore our faith in humanity and find inspiration to contribute positively. The Stoics also emphasize the importance of compassion. Recognizing that everyone struggles in their own way can soften resentment and foster empathy. When we approach others with understanding, we create opportunities for connection and healing, both for ourselves and for the world. In the end, humanity is a reflection of both its virtues and its vices. Choosing to focus on the former doesn't ignore the latter, but acknowledges the potential for growth and transformation. As Epictetus said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By choosing love and compassion over hatred, we uphold the true value of humanity and contribute to a better world. 15. Suffering is an inevitable part of life. Suffering is a universal experience. No one, regardless of their status, wealth, or wisdom, escapes life's trials. The Stoics understood this deeply, teaching that suffering is not an aberration, but an intrinsic part of existence. While modern culture often encourages us to avoid or minimize discomfort at all costs, the Stoics embraced suffering as an opportunity for growth and a gateway to resilience. Life's challenges, whether they come in the form of loss, failure, or adversity, serve as reminders of our human condition. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom reframes suffering not as something to be feared or resented, but as a natural phenomenon we can endure and learn from. By shifting our focus inward, we gain control over how we perceive and respond to pain. Suffering is often misunderstood as a punishment or an indication that something has gone wrong. But the Stoics saw it differently. To them, suffering was a teacher. Each hardship carries within it the seeds of wisdom and transformation. Just as muscles grow stronger through resistance, our character is forged in the crucible of difficulty. The key lies in accepting suffering as a necessary part of the journey rather than resisting it. Imagine walking through a storm. You cannot stop the rain, but you can decide whether to curse it or to see it as a chance to strengthen your resolve. This is the essence of Stoic thought, to accept what is beyond your control and focus, instead, on cultivating virtue in how you respond. Suffering, when embraced with this mindset, becomes a tool for self-improvement rather than a source of despair. Modern society often seeks to numb suffering with distractions, substances, or instant gratification. While these may provide temporary relief, they do not address the root of the pain. The Stoics encouraged confronting suffering head-on, seeing it as an inevitable and even valuable aspect of life. Seneca advised, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Avoidance may shield us from discomfort in the short term, but it robs us of the growth that comes from enduring and overcoming challenges." Accepting suffering doesn't mean welcoming unnecessary pain or becoming passive in the face of injustice. It means recognizing that no life is free from hardship and finding ways to navigate it with dignity and strength. By cultivating resilience, we can transform suffering into a force that empowers us rather than diminishes us. Ultimately, suffering reminds us of our shared humanity. It teaches compassion, both for ourselves and for others. When we see suffering as a universal experience, we become more empathetic, understanding that everyone carries their own burdens. This perspective not only eases our own pain, but also helps us build deeper connections with those around us. The inevitability of suffering is not a curse, but a call to live with intention and courage. As Epictetus observed, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By embracing this truth, we turn suffering into a source of strength, allowing us to face life's challenges with grace and wisdom. 16. Unchecked growth and greed exacerbate crises. In a world that prizes expansion, success, and wealth, unchecked growth and greed have become defining features of modern society. Yet, as the Stoics warned, excess often leads to imbalance and ultimately to crisis. The pursuit of more money, power, and resources often comes at the expense of stability, harmony, and ethical values. Unchecked growth is like a wildfire. What begins as a spark of ambition can quickly become an all-consuming force, leaving destruction in its wake. In the rush to accumulate, people and societies often lose sight of what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius cautioned against this, writing, "Do not indulge in dreams of having what you have not, but reckon up the chief of the blessings you do possess, and then thankfully remember how you would crave them if they were not yours." This Stoic principle reminds us to appreciate what we have, rather than constantly striving for more. Greed, in particular, is a corrosive force. It blinds individuals to the consequences of their actions and perpetuates cycles of exploitation and inequality. The Stoics believed that true wealth lies not in accumulation but in contentment and self-mastery. Seneca wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is, poor." Greed, by its nature, is insatiable, driving people to pursue endless growth at the expense of others and the planet. The consequences of unchecked growth are evident in both personal and global contexts. On a personal level, the relentless chase for success often leads to burnout, dissatisfaction, and fractured relationships. On a societal level, it manifests in environmental degradation, economic inequality, and political instability. When growth becomes the sole metric of progress, the long-term well-being of individuals and communities is sacrificed for short-term gains. The Stoics advocated for moderation and mindful living as antidotes to these destructive tendencies. They understood that growth without purpose or limits is ultimately unsustainable. Instead of pursuing endless expansion, they encouraged focusing on what truly enriches life: virtue, connection, and inner peace. This philosophy calls for a shift in priorities, from external achievements to internal fulfillment. Unchecked growth and greed also create cycles of crisis because they ignore the natural balance of systems. Just as the human body needs rest and nourishment to thrive, economies, environments, and relationships require periods of reflection and renewal. Pushing beyond these limits leads to collapse, whether through economic downturns, environmental disasters, or societal unrest. Reversing this trend requires a commitment to mindful restraint. By recognizing the limits of growth and prioritizing ethical and sustainable practices, individuals and societies can avoid the pitfalls of excess. This doesn't mean rejecting ambition or progress, but aligning them with values that promote balance and well-being. As the Stoics taught, the pursuit of more is not inherently virtuous. What matters is how we grow and for what purpose. Marcus Aurelius urged, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." By channeling our ambitions toward meaningful and ethical goals, we can foster growth that benefits both ourselves and the world around us. Unchecked growth and greed exacerbate crises, but they are not inevitable. By embracing the Stoic principles of moderation, gratitude, and purpose, we can create a culture that values sustainability over excess and wisdom over wealth. In doing so, we not only avert crises, but also build a foundation for genuine and lasting fulfillment. 17. Exceptional individuals are rare. The world often celebrates the idea of exceptionalism, painting a picture where greatness is attainable by all who simply strive hard enough. However, the Stoics understood a sobering truth. Truly exceptional individuals, those who achieve greatness in virtue, character, or accomplishments, are rare. This rarity doesn't stem from a lack of potential in humanity, but from the challenges and sacrifices required to reach such heights. Exceptional individuals are not born. They're forged through discipline, resilience, and a relentless commitment to personal growth. In a world that often prioritizes ease and instant gratification, few are willing to endure the hardships necessary to cultivate true excellence. Marcus Aurelius, himself an emperor and philosopher, recognized this rarity, writing, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The gap between knowing what is good and living it consistently is vast, and few are willing to bridge it. Modern culture, with its emphasis on widespread achievement and equality of opportunity, can make the rarity of exceptional individuals difficult to accept. Yet, exceptionalism is not about exclusivity or privilege. It's about a combination of relentless effort, steadfast principles, and the willingness to embrace discomfort for a greater purpose. Many possess the potential for greatness, but few actualize it because it demands letting go of comfort and complacency. Consider the path of those we admire most, whether in philosophy, science, art, or leadership. Their achievements often came at great personal cost, requiring years of dedication, failure, and refinement. The Stoics understood that exceptional individuals are not those who chase fleeting pleasures or external validation, but those who pursue inner mastery and meaningful contributions to the world. They achieve greatness not by aiming to be extraordinary, but by consistently practicing virtue and excellence in their daily lives. The rarity of exceptional individuals also reminds us of the importance of community. While not everyone may achieve the heights of greatness, the presence of exceptional people elevates those around them. Their wisdom, integrity, and example inspire others to strive for their own version of excellence. The Stoics believed that by aspiring to virtue and surrounding ourselves with those who embody it, we can collectively improve. Being exceptional is not about outshining others, but about living authentically and striving for one's highest potential. It's a personal journey that requires clarity of purpose, resilience in the face of setbacks, and a willingness to go against the grain. As Seneca wrote, "If you really want to escape the things that harass you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person." In acknowledging that exceptional individuals are rare, we can better appreciate their contributions and recognize the effort required to join their ranks. Rather than being discouraged by this rarity, we can use it as motivation to cultivate the traits that set exceptional individuals apart: discipline, courage, and a commitment to the greater good. 18. Power laws. Dominate success and inequality. The distribution of success and resources in the world is rarely equal. Instead, it often follows a pattern governed by power laws, a principle that describes how a small fraction of people or entities control a disproportionately large share of wealth, influence, or achievements. The Stoics, though living long before the formal articulation of this concept, recognized the natural inequality that arises from the differing abilities, opportunities, and choices of individuals. Power laws explain why a few individuals or organizations often dominate fields ranging from business to art to sports. For example, a handful of authors sell most of the books, a small percentage of athletes win the majority of championships, and a tiny fraction of companies generate most of the global wealth. This phenomenon is not inherently unjust, but reflects the compounding advantages that success brings, an idea the Stoics would likely approach with pragmatic acceptance. Understanding power laws offers a lens through which to view success and inequality without resentment or disillusionment. The Stoics believed in focusing on what is within one's control rather than lamenting the inequalities of life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You may leave this life at any moment. Have this possibility in your mind in all that you do or say or think." His words remind us to channel our energy toward meaningful action rather than becoming consumed by envy or frustration over disparities. Power laws highlight the importance of making the most of opportunities. Small initial advantages, be they talent, resources, or timing, can lead to disproportionate outcomes when compounded over time. However, this also means that even small, consistent efforts can yield significant results in the long run. The Stoic principle of gradual improvement aligns with this idea, encouraging individuals to focus on steady progress rather than immediate success. The dominance of power laws also underscores the need for humility and gratitude. For those who achieve great success, recognizing the role of external factors, such as luck, timing, or the contributions of others, prevents arrogance and fosters a sense of responsibility. Seneca wrote, "What fortune has made yours is not your own." This perspective encourages those in positions of power or influence to use their advantages for the greater good. Inequality, while a natural outcome of power laws, also presents moral and social challenges. The Stoics would advocate for using personal success not as a means of self-aggrandizement, but as an opportunity to contribute to the well-being of others. This approach reflects the Stoic commitment to justice, which emphasizes fairness, compassion, and the interconnectedness of humanity. Ultimately, power laws are not a prescription for complacency or despair, but a reminder of life's inherent imbalances. By understanding these dynamics, we can navigate the world with greater clarity and focus. Whether we find ourselves at the top, middle, or bottom of the curve, the Stoic principles of gratitude, effort, and responsibility remain guiding lights. The dominance of power laws in success and inequality is a fact of life, but it is not a reason to abandon hope or effort. Instead, it invites us to strive for excellence within our sphere of influence, to recognize the interconnectedness of all achievements, and to use whatever advantages we have to uplift others. By aligning our actions with these principles, we honor the Stoic belief in the pursuit of virtue over external measures of success. 19. Shaming reproductive choices has negative consequences. The decisions surrounding reproduction are some of the most personal and profound that individuals can make. Yet, society often imposes its values, expectations, and judgments on these deeply private choices. Shaming someone for their reproductive decisions, whether they choose to have children, remain child-free, or the circumstances in which they conceive, can lead to far-reaching negative consequences for individuals and communities alike. The Stoics, champions of personal autonomy and rational decision-making, would remind us to respect the choices of others while focusing on our own path. Shaming reproductive choices undermines the fundamental Stoic principle of oikeiosis, the natural inclination to care for oneself and others. When people feel pressured to conform to societal norms or judged for diverging from them, it creates unnecessary emotional distress and division. Marcus Aurelius urged, "Don't waste time on what others are doing or saying. Instead, look to what you yourself must do." This wisdom suggests that we should focus on living in accordance with our own values rather than imposing those values on others. The consequences of reproductive shaming often extend beyond individual discomfort. It can perpetuate harmful stereotypes, discourage open and honest dialogue, and foster a culture of fear and judgment. For example, shaming those who choose not to have children might overlook the environmental, financial, or personal reasons behind their decision. Similarly, criticizing individuals who have children in less than ideal circumstances can exacerbate feelings of guilt and inadequacy, further compounding their challenges. The Stoics emphasized that judgments rooted in ignorance or external appearances are not only unhelpful, but also unjust. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." By this logic, shaming others for their reproductive choices reflects more on the shamer's lack of understanding than on the person being judged. Compassion and understanding, rather than condemnation, align more closely with Stoic virtues. Shaming reproductive decisions also diminishes the importance of individual agency, a core Stoic value. Each person is tasked with navigating their own unique circumstances, balancing competing priorities, and making decisions they believe are best for their lives. Imposing external judgment disregards this agency and can discourage people from making thoughtful, authentic choices. Instead, the Stoics would encourage us to support others in their journeys, respecting their autonomy even when their choices differ from our own. Ultimately, the Stoic approach to reproductive choices is one of humility, respect, and understanding. Recognizing that everyone faces their own challenges and must act according to their own values fosters a more compassionate and harmonious society. When we resist the urge to judge and instead focus on improving our own lives, we embody the Stoic ideal of living in alignment with virtue. 20. Environmental alarmism can be misguided. The health of our planet is undeniably one of the most pressing concerns of our time. However, the approach we take to address environmental issues can significantly impact the effectiveness of our solutions. While raising awareness and urgency around environmental challenges is crucial, alarmism, exaggerating or catastrophizing the situation, can often do more harm than good. The Stoics, known for their measured and rational approach to life, would advocate for addressing environmental concerns with clarity, balance, and a commitment to constructive action. Alarmism, by its nature, stokes fear and anxiety. While these emotions may inspire immediate attention, they can also lead to paralysis or counterproductive behavior. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When people are overwhelmed by dire warnings and hopeless scenarios, they may feel powerless to effect meaningful change, choosing instead to disengage entirely. Furthermore, alarmism often overshadows practical, actionable solutions. By focusing solely on worst-case scenarios, it can obscure the incremental steps that individuals, communities, and governments can take to address environmental issues. The Stoics believed in the importance of focusing on what is within our control. Epictetus urged, "Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens." Applying this principle to environmental challenges means emphasizing solutions and actions rather than dwelling on despair. Alarmism can also alienate people who might otherwise support environmental causes. Hyperbolic messaging can create skepticism, particularly when predictions fail to materialize or are perceived as exaggerated. This skepticism can erode trust in legitimate scientific findings and hinder collective efforts to address environmental problems. A Stoic approach would emphasize reasoned discourse and evidence-based solutions, fostering collaboration rather than division. The Stoics also cautioned against letting emotions cloud judgment. Environmental issues, while urgent, require thoughtful and strategic responses. Panic-driven policies or reactionary measures can lead to unintended consequences, such as economic disruptions or technological solutions that create new problems. By approaching these challenges with rationality and foresight, we can avoid hasty decisions and focus on sustainable, long-term solutions. This is not to say that environmental concerns should be downplayed or ignored. The Stoics would encourage us to act responsibly and with urgency, but without losing sight of reason and proportion. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." Similarly, addressing environmental issues requires balancing immediate action with a vision for a healthier future, without succumbing to panic. In conclusion, environmental alarmism, while well-intentioned, can be counterproductive. A Stoic approach calls for addressing these challenges with clarity, rationality, and a focus on what we can control. By fostering constructive dialogue, promoting actionable solutions, and maintaining a sense of hope, we can work together to protect the planet without succumbing to fear or despair. 21. Aging without fulfillment leads to regret. As time passes, the weight of unfulfilled dreams and neglected opportunities can grow heavier, casting a shadow over one's later years. The Stoics often reflected on the fleeting nature of life, urging individuals to prioritize purpose and authenticity over fleeting distractions. Aging without fulfillment is not merely a matter of lost youth. It is the result of living a life disconnected from what truly matters. Regret stems not from the inevitability of aging, but from the choices that lead one to neglect the essence of a meaningful existence. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This is not an invitation to despair, but a call to live intentionally, to ensure that every moment contributes to a life well lived. When people age without a sense of fulfillment, it is often because they allowed themselves to drift through life, prioritizing the trivial over the significant. Instead of cultivating meaningful relationships, pursuing passions, or contributing to something larger than themselves, they may have been preoccupied with chasing societal expectations or avoiding discomfort. Fulfillment doesn't require grand achievements or widespread acclaim. It arises from aligning daily actions with one's values and purpose. A life filled with purpose is one in which the mundane becomes meaningful, where even small acts reflect deeper intentions. For example, nurturing a family, creating art, or simply practicing kindness can bring profound satisfaction when done with care and alignment to one's principles. The Stoics believed that virtue, the practice of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, was the key to fulfillment. They saw it not as a lofty ideal, but as a practical guide to living a life free of regret. Regret often stems from neglecting to confront the hard truths of existence. Avoiding failure, delaying decisions, or succumbing to fear can prevent people from living fully. Yet, as Seneca warned, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it. To avoid aging with regret, one must confront life's uncertainties with courage and embrace the discomfort that comes with striving for fulfillment. This means taking risks, pursuing passions, and not postponing the things that truly matter. Another source of regret is the failure to maintain meaningful relationships. As people age, the absence of deep connections can lead to a sense of emptiness. Relationships, whether with family, friends, or community, are essential to a fulfilling life. The Stoics emphasize the importance of oikiosis, a natural inclination to connect and care for others. Neglecting these bonds in favor of individual pursuits or superficial interactions can leave a person feeling isolated and unfulfilled. Living without fulfillment often results from prioritizing external validation over internal satisfaction. Many people chase wealth, status, or possessions, believing these will bring happiness. Yet, the Stoics remind us that true fulfillment comes from within. Epictetus advised, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." A life lived in pursuit of external rewards may look successful on the surface, but it often leaves little room for the deeper joys that come from self-awareness and genuine connection. To age without regret requires cultivating habits of reflection and gratitude. Regularly taking stock of one's life, examining whether one's actions align with one's values, can help ensure that time is not wasted. Gratitude for what one has achieved and experienced also shifts the focus from what is lacking to what is meaningful. This practice of reflection and gratitude, central to Stoic philosophy, allows individuals to adjust their course before it is too late. Ultimately, aging with fulfillment is about embracing life with intention, courage, and an unwavering commitment to living in alignment with one's true self. When one lives authentically, there is little room for regret. The years may pass, but they are filled with moments that matter, leaving a legacy of purpose and contentment. 22. Youth is essential for innovation. Youth is often seen as a fleeting phase, one of energy, curiosity, and boundless potential. While wisdom and experience are invaluable, youth brings with it a unique set of qualities that make it indispensable for innovation. The Stoics, though more focused on timeless virtues than fleeting stages of life, would acknowledge the significance of youth's daring spirit and its role in driving progress and change. Youth thrives on curiosity and an openness to new ideas. It is during this phase of life that individuals are most willing to challenge established norms and question the status quo. Innovation requires this fearless exploration of the unknown, a willingness to ask, "What if?" and the audacity to believe that the impossible is achievable. Seneca noted, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." This sense of immediacy often drives young people to pursue bold ideas without being weighed down by the fear of failure that accumulates with age. The energy and resilience of youth are also critical to innovation. Creating something new often requires long hours, relentless effort, and a high tolerance for setbacks. Young minds and bodies, unburdened by the weariness of age, are better equipped to endure the demands of pioneering efforts. This vigor enables them to push boundaries, iterate quickly, and persevere in the face of obstacles. Youth is also less tied to the constraints of tradition. While older generations may cling to established ways of thinking, younger individuals are more likely to see opportunities for improvement and change. This is not to say that age diminishes creativity, but that youth is more naturally inclined to question existing paradigms. Marcus Aurelius encouraged, "Do not be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth." This mindset, common among the young, is what drives them to innovate and chart new paths. At the same time, youth benefits from collaboration and mentorship. While young people bring fresh perspectives and bold ideas, they often lack the experience and wisdom needed to refine their innovations. Pairing the enthusiasm of youth with the guidance of seasoned mentors creates a powerful synergy. The Stoics believed in the importance of learning from others, as Seneca advised, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." This collaboration between generations ensures that youthful innovation is tempered by practical knowledge and perspective. However, the potential of youth to drive innovation is not without its challenges. Impatience, inexperience, and a lack of foresight can sometimes lead to missteps. The Stoics would remind young innovators to cultivate virtues such as temperance and prudence, ensuring that their ambitions are grounded in reality. While boldness is an asset, it must be balanced with careful consideration and a willingness to learn from failure. Society has a responsibility to nurture the innovative spirit of youth. This means creating environments that encourage experimentation, support risk-taking, and celebrate creativity. Education systems, workplaces, and communities must recognize the value of youthful energy and provide opportunities for it to flourish. The Stoics would argue that this is not merely a matter of progress, but of justice. Enabling individuals to fulfill their potential is an expression of our shared humanity. In conclusion, youth is a vital force for innovation, bringing energy, curiosity, and a willingness to challenge the status quo. While it is important to recognize the value of experience and wisdom, society must also embrace the unique qualities of youth that drive progress and change. By fostering a culture that supports young innovators and encourages collaboration across generations, we can ensure that the daring spirit of youth continues to shape a better future. As the Stoics might remind us, Every stage of life has its purpose, and youth's role in innovation is one of its greatest gifts. 23. Misanthropy threatens humanity's progress. Misanthropy, the disdain or distrust of humanity, is a sentiment that has plagued societies for centuries. It is an outlook that views humanity as irredeemably flawed, selfish, or destructive. While it may arise from personal disappointments or disillusionment with societal failings, misanthropy poses a significant threat to progress and collective growth. The Stoics, who advocated for the interdependence of humanity, would argue that such negativity stifles the very collaboration and compassion needed to overcome challenges and achieve meaningful progress. At its core, misanthropy is a form of withdrawal. It rejects the potential for human improvement and dismisses the shared efforts that have historically driven civilization forward. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This perspective encourages gratitude and a recognition of humanity's shared existence. Misanthropy, however, blinds individuals to this shared privilege, creating a divide between themselves and others. The consequences of misanthropy extend beyond the individual. When people give in to cynicism about humanity, they are less likely to engage in efforts to improve their communities or contribute to societal progress. Innovation, social reform, and acts of kindness often stem from a belief in the potential for positive change. Misanthropy undermines this belief, leading to apathy and a lack of action. The Stoics believed in the interconnectedness of all people and emphasized the importance of contributing to the common good. Seneca stated, "No man is an island, entire of itself." Rejecting this interconnectedness only leads to stagnation. Furthermore, misanthropy perpetuates a cycle of negativity. When individuals view humanity through a lens of disdain, they are more likely to behave in ways that reinforce their negative beliefs. They may withdraw from meaningful relationships, avoid collaboration, or act with hostility, thus contributing to the very flaws they condemn. The Stoics would advise against such behavior, encouraging instead a focus on what can be controlled, one's own actions and attitudes. By choosing to act with kindness and integrity, individuals can counteract the negativity they see in the world. It is important to distinguish misanthropy from constructive criticism. Critiquing societal flaws with the intention of improvement is a valuable and necessary endeavor. However, when criticism becomes rooted in hopelessness and disdain, it ceases to be productive. The Stoics taught that while it is natural to recognize the imperfections of humanity, it is also necessary to work toward solutions. Marcus Aurelius observed, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This call to action reminds us that change begins with individual effort, not with condemning others. Overcoming misanthropy requires a shift in perspective. It means acknowledging humanity's flaws while also recognizing its capacity for growth, resilience, and compassion. Acts of kindness, no matter how small, serve as reminders of the potential for good in others. Building connections, contributing to community efforts, and focusing on shared values can help dissolve feelings of alienation and restore faith in humanity. In the end, misanthropy is a barrier to progress, both personal and collective. The Stoics understood that humanity's strength lies in its interconnectedness and capacity for improvement. By choosing hope and action over cynicism and withdrawal, individuals can contribute to a more positive and progressive world. As Marcus Aurelius advised, "Love the hand that fate deals you and play it as your own, for what could be more fitting?" Embracing humanity, despite its flaws, is the key to unlocking its potential for progress. 24. Comfort and mediocrity can sedate people, leading them to abandon dreams. Comfort is an alluring state, offering safety and familiarity in a world filled with uncertainty. However, the Stoics warned against becoming too attached to comfort, as it often breeds mediocrity and stagnation. When people prioritize comfort over growth, they risk abandoning their dreams and settling for less than they are capable of achieving. The pursuit of excellence, they believed, requires effort, discipline, and a willingness to step beyond the boundaries of comfort. Seneca cautioned, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." This insight highlights the danger of choosing comfort over challenge. Dreams often require daring, the courage to take risks, face setbacks, and endure discomfort. Yet, the allure of mediocrity can sedate individuals, lulling them into a state of complacency where the pursuit of dreams feels unnecessary or unattainable. The modern world, with its conveniences and distractions, makes it easier than ever to prioritize comfort. Endless entertainment, instant gratification, and societal norms that reward conformity can create a culture of mediocrity. People may choose to stay in unfulfilling jobs, avoid difficult conversations, or abandon ambitious goals because the effort required to pursue them feels overwhelming. The Stoics would remind us that true fulfillment lies not in comfort, but in the pursuit of virtue and self-improvement. Comfort is not inherently bad, but it becomes harmful when it replaces purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Challenges, though uncomfortable, are essential for growth. They push individuals to develop resilience, creativity, and strength. When people avoid these challenges, they miss out on the opportunities for transformation and self-discovery that come with them. Mediocrity, on the other hand, is often a result of fear of failure, judgment, or the unknown. By choosing the path of least resistance, individuals may feel safe in the moment, but over time, this choice erodes their sense of purpose and fulfillment. The Stoics emphasized the importance of living with intention and striving for excellence. Epictetus declared, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." This call to action encourages individuals to set meaningful goals and pursue them with determination, even when it is uncomfortable. Breaking free from the seduction of comfort and mediocrity requires cultivating discipline and resilience. It means embracing discomfort as a necessary part of growth and viewing challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Small, consistent actions, such as setting daily goals, stepping out of one's comfort zone, or seeking feedback, can help build the habits needed to pursue dreams and achieve excellence. It is also important to reconnect with one's dreams and aspirations, reflecting on what truly matters, identifying what brings joy and purpose, and setting clear intentions can reignite the motivation to strive for more. The Stoics believed that aligning one's actions with one's values was essential to a meaningful life. By prioritizing purpose over comfort, individuals can avoid the trap of mediocrity and work toward a life that reflects their highest potential. Ultimately, comfort and mediocrity may offer temporary ease, but they come at the cost of long-term fulfillment. The Stoics remind us that the path to excellence is not easy, but it is deeply rewarding. By embracing challenges, rejecting complacency, and committing to personal growth, individuals can avoid the sedative effects of comfort and mediocrity and live a life that honors their dreams and potential. 25. Protecting oneself from the world's troubles is ultimately futile. The idea of isolating oneself from the troubles of the world can be appealing. In a world filled with chaos, conflict, and constant demands, retreating into a personal bubble seems like a reasonable way to find peace. However, the Stoics understood that such an approach is both unrealistic and ultimately futile. They recognized the profound interconnection between individual well-being and the health of the society in which one lives. Marcus Aurelius observed, "What is bad for the hive is bad for the bee," emphasizing that no individual can thrive in isolation from the greater collective. At first glance, distancing oneself from the world's problems may appear to bring relief. Turning off the news, avoiding difficult conversations, or focusing solely on personal interests can create a temporary sense of calm. However, these actions often lead to a false sense of security. Problems in society, such as inequality, environmental degradation, or political instability, eventually ripple through to affect everyone, regardless of their attempts to avoid them. The Stoics would argue that true peace comes not from avoidance, but from engaging with the world in a constructive and virtuous way. The futility of isolation becomes clear when we consider how deeply interconnected human lives are. Economic systems, environmental conditions, healthcare access, and community structures all play a role in shaping individual well-being. A thriving society fosters opportunities for growth, safety, and fulfillment, while a failing one breeds instability and suffering. Ignoring societal issues doesn't make them disappear. It simply delays their impact. Seneca wisely noted, "He who does not prevent a crime when he can, encourages it." This sentiment reminds us that inaction often contributes to the very problems we seek to escape. Instead of withdrawing, the Stoics encouraged active participation in the world, guided by principles of wisdom, courage, and justice. Engaging with societal issues doesn't mean taking on the weight of the world's problems single-handedly. Rather, it involves contributing in meaningful ways within one's capacity. Volunteering, voting, educating oneself, or advocating for positive change are small but impactful actions that align with the Stoic ideal of living a virtuous life. By addressing societal challenges, individuals not only improve the collective good, but also find a deeper sense of purpose and connection. Protecting oneself from the world's troubles also requires emotional resilience. It is easy to feel overwhelmed by the magnitude of global issues, leading to despair or apathy. The Stoics offered tools to navigate these emotions, such as focusing on what is within one's control and maintaining perspective. Marcus Aurelius advised, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This mindset enables individuals to engage with the world's challenges without being consumed by them. Ultimately, societal health and individual well-being are inextricably linked. The Stoics understood that no person is an island, and the strength of the whole depends on the contributions of its parts. By choosing engagement over withdrawal, individuals can help build a healthier, more resilient society, while also fostering their own growth and fulfillment. The path to peace is not found in isolation, but in embracing the shared responsibility of improving the world for everyone. 26. People often forget their aspirations and become comfortably numb. Life has a way of lulling people into a state of complacency. The routines, responsibilities, and distractions of daily existence can cause individuals to lose sight of their dreams and aspirations. Over time, the spark of ambition that once drove them forward is replaced by a quiet resignation to mediocrity. This phenomenon, often described as becoming comfortably numb, is a subtle but profound threat to living a fulfilling life. The Stoics would warn against this stagnation, emphasizing the importance of continuous growth and purposeful living. At its core, becoming comfortably numb is a form of self-abandonment. It happens gradually as people prioritize short-term comfort over long-term goals. Instead of pursuing their passions or challenging themselves, they settle for what feels safe and familiar. While this state may seem peaceful, it often leaves individuals feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from their true selves. Seneca cautioned, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This wasted potential is the true cost of becoming comfortably numb. The distractions of modern life contribute significantly to this phenomenon. Endless entertainment, consumer culture, and the pursuit of superficial achievements create a veneer of satisfaction that masks deeper dissatisfaction. People may fill their days with activities that provide temporary pleasure but lack meaning, leaving them feeling empty despite their busy schedules. The Stoics believed that true fulfillment comes not from external distractions, but from living in alignment with one's values and purpose. Reconnecting with one's aspirations requires deliberate effort. It begins with self-reflection, an honest examination of one's desires, values, and goals. What truly matters? What dreams have been set aside in the pursuit of convenience or security? The Stoics encouraged regular reflection as a way to maintain clarity and focus. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them." This practice of reflection helps individuals reconnect with their passions and find inspiration to move forward. Overcoming numbness also involves embracing discomfort. Growth and achievement require stepping out of one's comfort zone and facing challenges head-on. While the fear of failure or uncertainty may be daunting, the Stoics taught that these experiences are essential for personal development. Epictetus remarked, "Difficulties show what men are." By confronting challenges, individuals not only rediscover their potential, but also build resilience and confidence. Taking small, consistent steps toward one's aspirations can reignite a sense of purpose. Setting achievable goals, celebrating progress, and maintaining a growth mindset are practical ways to overcome complacency. The Stoics believed in the power of incremental improvement, understanding that meaningful change is a gradual process. Each step forward, no matter how small, brings individuals closer to their dreams and restores their sense of agency. It is important to cultivate gratitude for the journey itself. While the pursuit of aspirations involves challenges and setbacks, it also provides opportunities for learning, connection, and self-discovery. The Stoics emphasized finding joy in the process rather than fixating solely on the outcome. Seneca advised, "Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life." This mindset transforms the pursuit of aspirations from a daunting task into a rewarding adventure. In the end, becoming comfortably numb is a choice, but so is breaking free from it. The Stoics remind us that life is too precious to spend in complacency. By reconnecting with our aspirations, embracing challenges, and living with intention, we can move beyond the haze of numbness and create a life filled with purpose and vitality. The journey may not always be easy, but it is one worth taking. 27. True antidotes to suffering. Require striving for excellence, not merely avoiding pain. Suffering is an unavoidable part of the human experience, from the minor inconveniences of daily life to the profound challenges that test our limits. Pain comes in many forms. It is natural to want to avoid suffering, to seek comfort and shield oneself from hardship. However, the Stoics understood that true growth and fulfillment arise not from avoiding pain, but from striving for excellence in the face of it. They believed that suffering is not an obstacle, but an opportunity, a chance to build character, develop resilience, and achieve greatness. At its core, the avoidance of pain often leads to stagnation. When people prioritize comfort over challenge, they miss the chance to discover their potential. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This profound insight highlights the transformative power of hardship. Instead of viewing suffering as a barrier, the Stoics saw it as a teacher, guiding individuals towards self-improvement and excellence. Consider the story of an athlete training for a marathon. The grueling hours of practice, the physical exhaustion, and the mental strain are forms of suffering. Yet, these challenges are essential for building the strength and endurance needed to reach the finish line. Similarly, in life, the pursuit of excellence requires enduring discomfort. It demands discipline, perseverance, and the willingness to face adversity. The Stoics believed that by striving for excellence, individuals transcend their suffering and find meaning in their efforts. Avoiding pain, on the other hand, often leads to greater suffering in the long run. When people choose the path of least resistance, they may feel temporary relief, but they sacrifice the rewards that come from overcoming challenges. They also risk becoming unprepared for the inevitable difficulties that life will bring. Seneca warned, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." By shying away from hardship, individuals deprive themselves of the mental fortitude needed to navigate life's complexities. Striving for excellence does not mean seeking out pain for its own sake. It means embracing the discomfort that comes with growth and using it as fuel to become better. This mindset shifts the focus from avoiding suffering to finding purpose in it. The Stoics practiced this through premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, where they mentally prepared for potential hardships. This exercise helped them build resilience and approach challenges with a sense of calm and determination. The antidote to suffering lies in cultivating virtues like courage, wisdom, and perseverance. By striving for excellence in these areas, individuals transform their pain into a source of strength. They learn to see suffering not as something to fear, but as an integral part of the journey toward self-mastery. As Epictetus observed, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This mastery comes from confronting suffering with a spirit of excellence rather than seeking to escape it. Ultimately, striving for excellence is about living with intention and purpose. It is about choosing the harder path because it leads to a life of greater depth and meaning. The Stoics remind us that suffering is not the enemy. It is a catalyst for growth. By embracing it, we unlock our potential and discover what we are truly capable of achieving. 28. Overprotection, especially by mothers, can stifle independence and growth. The desire to protect loved ones is one of the most natural and instinctive human emotions. For mothers, this instinct is particularly strong, as they strive to shield their children from harm and ensure their well-being. While this care comes from a place of love, overprotection can have unintended consequences. The Stoics recognize that excessive sheltering stifles independence, resilience, and personal growth, leaving individuals ill-equipped to face the challenges of life. Overprotection often begins with the best intentions. Parents, especially mothers, seek to create a safe and nurturing environment for their children. They may step in to solve problems, prevent failures, or shield their children from discomfort. However, this constant intervention deprives children of the opportunity to learn from their experiences. As Seneca noted, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." Without the friction of challenges, individuals cannot develop the skills and confidence needed to navigate the complexities of life. Consider a child learning to ride a bicycle. If a parent never lets go of the handlebars, the child will never experience the wobbles and falls that are necessary for mastering balance. Similarly, in life, overprotection prevents individuals from building the resilience that comes from facing and overcoming difficulties. By trying to eliminate all risks, parents inadvertently hinder their children's growth and independence. The Stoics believe that adversity is essential for developing character. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This philosophy teaches that individuals must confront challenges head-on, rather than relying on others to shield them. Overprotected individuals often struggle to develop this inner strength, leaving them vulnerable to life's inevitable hardships. Overprotection also fosters a fear of failure. When children are constantly rescued from difficulties, they may come to believe that failure is something to be avoided at all costs. This fear can lead to anxiety, perfectionism, and a reluctance to take risks. The Stoics, however, viewed failure as a natural and valuable part of life. Epictetus advised, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." Embracing failure as a learning opportunity is a key step in personal growth. For mothers and caregivers, the challenge lies in finding the balance between providing support and allowing independence. This requires letting go of the need to control every outcome and trusting in the individual's ability to learn and grow. It involves stepping back, even when it is difficult, and allowing loved ones to face their own challenges. This act of trust is not a sign of neglect, but of respect for their capacity to navigate life's ups and downs. Encouraging independence also means teaching critical life skills and fostering a sense of responsibility. By equipping individuals with the tools they need to succeed, caregivers empower them to face challenges with confidence. The Stoics emphasized the importance of self-reliance, reminding us that true strength comes from within. As Seneca wrote, "He is most powerful who has power over himself." Ultimately, overprotection, while well-intentioned, can do more harm than good. By stepping back and allowing loved ones to experience life's challenges, caregivers enable them to grow into capable and resilient individuals. The Stoics remind us that growth often comes from discomfort, and it is through facing adversity that we discover our true potential. True love is not about shielding others from hardship. It is about empowering them to thrive in the face of it. 29. Individuals must accept responsibility for their own choices and resist external overprotection. Taking responsibility for one's own life is a cornerstone of personal growth. While it's natural to seek guidance and support from others, excessive reliance on external overprotection can hinder autonomy and stunt development. The Stoics firmly believed that true strength comes from within and that individuals must own their choices, even when they lead to failure or hardship. This sense of accountability is not only empowering, but also essential for living a life of purpose and resilience. Overprotection, whether from well-meaning parents, mentors, or society, often stems from a desire to shield individuals from pain and failure. While this intent may be noble, it can create a dangerous dependency. When people are excessively protected, they lose the opportunity to face challenges, learn from mistakes, and develop the skills needed to navigate life independently. As Marcus Aurelius observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Without confronting life's trials, individuals cannot harness this inner power. Accepting responsibility begins with acknowledging that life is shaped by one's own decisions. While external circumstances can influence outcomes, the Stoics remind us that it is our reactions, choices, and attitudes that ultimately determine our path. Epictetus emphasized, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This perspective empowers individuals to reclaim control over their lives, even in the face of adversity. Consider someone who consistently blames others for their misfortunes, a struggling employee blaming a toxic work environment, a student blaming an unsupportive teacher, or an individual blaming societal constraints for their lack of progress. While these factors may play a role, the refusal to take ownership of their actions perpetuates stagnation. Responsibility, on the other hand, prompts reflection, adaptation, and growth. Resisting external overprotection requires courage and self-awareness. It means recognizing when help, though well-intentioned, is hindering growth. This can be particularly challenging in relationships where overprotection feels like care. For example, a parent who constantly intervenes to solve their child's problems may inadvertently undermine their confidence and problem-solving abilities. By stepping back and allowing space for struggle, they encourage independence and resilience. Taking responsibility also involves making peace with the consequences of one's choices. This includes owning successes and failures alike. The Stoics viewed failure not as a defeat, but as an opportunity to learn and improve. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." When individuals accept that mistakes are a natural part of growth, they approach life with greater courage and determination. Resisting overprotection does not mean rejecting support entirely. Rather, it is about seeking guidance while retaining the agency to make one's own decisions. This balance fosters a sense of self-reliance and confidence. The Stoics championed the idea of building an inner citadel, a fortress of strength and resilience that no external force can penetrate. By taking responsibility for their choices, individuals lay the foundation for this inner citadel. Ultimately, life's challenges are what shape us. Overprotection, while comforting, deprives individuals of the chance to confront and overcome these challenges. By accepting responsibility for their own lives, people unlock their potential and cultivate the resilience needed to thrive. The Stoics remind us that true growth comes from within, and that each person holds the key to their own destiny. 30. Imposter syndrome is inevitable. During growth, and reflects self-awareness, not incompetence. Imposter syndrome, the feeling that one is unworthy of their achievements or unqualified for their role, is a common experience, especially during periods of growth. As people step out of their comfort zones and into new challenges, they often grapple with self-doubt and the fear of being found out. While imposter syndrome can feel paralyzing, the Stoics offer a perspective that reframes it as a sign of self-awareness and an integral part of personal development. Growth, by its very nature, involves stepping into the unknown. It requires pushing boundaries, acquiring new skills, and embracing unfamiliar roles. This journey often triggers feelings of inadequacy, as individuals confront their limitations and compare themselves to those who appear more accomplished. However, these feelings are not evidence of incompetence, but of ambition. They indicate that a person is striving for something greater, which is a hallmark of growth. The Stoics understood that self-doubt is a natural response to stepping beyond one's current abilities. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This emphasis on integrity highlights the importance of self-reflection. Imposter syndrome arises because individuals hold themselves to high standards, questioning whether they truly deserve their achievements. This introspection, though uncomfortable, is a sign of conscientiousness and a commitment to excellence. Consider an artist who feels like a fraud despite creating beautiful, meaningful work. They compare themselves to renowned masters, wondering if they measure up. Yet, this very self-questioning drives them to refine their craft and push their limits. Without it, they might stagnate, content with mediocrity. Imposter syndrome, in this sense, is a catalyst for growth, a reminder to strive for continuous improvement. The Stoics remind us that comparison is often the root of unnecessary suffering. Epictetus advised, "Don't explain your philosophy, embody it." Instead of comparing oneself to others, the focus should be on embodying one's values and doing the best one can in the present moment. Imposter syndrome loses its grip when individuals shift their attention from external validation to internal growth. Another critical insight is that imposter syndrome reflects self-awareness. Those who experience it are often acutely aware of their imperfections and areas for improvement. This awareness, far from being a weakness, is a strength. It fosters humility and a willingness to learn. The Stoics valued this mindset, viewing humility as a prerequisite for wisdom. Seneca wrote, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." Imposter syndrome, when embraced, becomes a teacher rather than an obstacle. Overcoming imposter syndrome does not mean eliminating self-doubt altogether. Instead, it involves recognizing it as a natural part of the journey and refusing to let it dictate one's actions. This requires courage, the courage to take risks, to make mistakes, and to trust in one's ability to grow. Marcus Aurelius encouraged this resilience, writing, "You have within you the strength to endure anything the world throws at you." Ultimately, imposter syndrome is a sign that one is moving in the right direction. It signals that a person is challenging themselves, seeking growth, and striving for excellence. The Stoics remind us that progress is rarely comfortable, but it is always worthwhile. By reframing imposter syndrome as a reflection of self-awareness and ambition, individuals can navigate it with confidence and continue on their path of growth. 31. Neuroticism amplifies self-doubt, requiring courage and experience to overcome. Neuroticism, characterized by heightened emotional reactivity and sensitivity to stress, can be both a challenge and an opportunity for growth. It often amplifies self-doubt, creating internal battles that seem insurmountable. However, the Stoics recognized that these struggles, while difficult, also hold the potential for profound personal transformation. Overcoming the grip of neuroticism requires a combination of courage, deliberate practice, and the wisdom gained from experience. Self-doubt thrives in the fertile soil of neurotic tendencies. When individuals are prone to overthinking, every decision, action, or interaction can become a source of anxiety. The mind spins narratives of inadequacy, magnifying even minor missteps into significant failures. Marcus Aurelius understood this tendency well, writing, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This insight reminds us that the root of neuroticism lies not in external circumstances, but in how the mind interprets them. Courage is the first step in addressing neuroticism. It involves facing the fears and insecurities that fuel self-doubt rather than avoiding or suppressing them. This bravery is not about eradicating anxiety, but about moving forward despite it. Consider a person who fears public speaking due to self-doubt. The thought of standing before an audience triggers a cascade of neurotic thoughts. What if I forget my words? What if they judge me? Yet, if this person takes the courageous step of speaking anyway, they begin to challenge their self-imposed limitations. Experience is the great equalizer in this battle. With each attempt to face fears and take action, individuals build a repertoire of successes, no matter how small, that weaken the hold of neuroticism. As Epictetus advised, "He who fears death will never do anything worth of a man who is alive." By embracing opportunities for growth, even in the face of discomfort, individuals transform fear into resilience. Stoicism teaches us that the mind is a tool that can be trained. Neuroticism may amplify self-doubt, but through practices like mindfulness and self-reflection, individuals can learn to observe their thoughts without being controlled by them. The act of stepping back and questioning the validity of anxious thoughts is a form of mental discipline. Over time, this practice weakens the automatic responses that fuel neurotic tendencies. Another antidote to neuroticism is gratitude. By focusing on what is going well, rather than fixating on perceived shortcomings, individuals can shift their perspective and reduce the intensity of self-doubt. Marcus Aurelius encouraged this practice, writing, "Dwell on the beauty of life. Watch the stars and see yourself running with them." Gratitude grounds us in the present moment, counteracting the anxiety that arises from overthinking the future. Building courage and experience to overcome neuroticism is not a linear process. There will be setbacks and moments of doubt, but the Stoics remind us that progress is not about perfection, it is about perseverance. Each small victory builds confidence, and each failure becomes a lesson. By committing to this journey, individuals can transform neurotic tendencies into a source of strength and resilience. 32. Words and articulation are powerful tools for asserting oneself and navigating life. Language is one of the most potent tools at our disposal. It shapes perceptions, conveys emotions, and asserts identity. The Stoics, masters of clarity and precision, understood that words are not just vehicles of communication, they're instruments of influence and self-assertion. In a world often fraught with misunderstanding and conflict, the ability to articulate oneself effectively is an essential skill for navigating life. The power of words lies in their ability to bridge the gap between thought and action. When thoughts are left unexpressed or poorly articulated, they remain stagnant, unable to inspire change or foster connection. Conversely, when thoughts are conveyed with clarity and conviction, they can move hearts, shift perspectives, and build bridges. As Epictetus said, "First learn the meaning of what you say, and then speak." This principle underscores the importance of understanding before expression. Effective articulation begins with self-awareness. To communicate clearly, one must first understand their own thoughts, values, and intentions. This requires reflection and introspection, practices that the Stoics championed. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, repeatedly examined his beliefs and actions, seeking alignment between his inner convictions and outward expressions. This alignment is the foundation of authentic communication. Consider the impact of well-chosen words in moments of conflict. A heated argument can escalate or de-escalate based on how one responds. Reacting impulsively often leads to misunderstandings and hurt feelings. However, responding thoughtfully, with words that convey respect and clarity, can turn tension into resolution. The Stoics taught that emotions should never dictate speech. Instead, speech should be guided by reason and a commitment to truth. Articulation is also a means of asserting oneself in the face of adversity. Many people struggle to express their needs, set boundaries, or advocate for themselves, fearing judgment or rejection. Yet, the ability to do so is crucial for maintaining integrity and self-respect. As Seneca observed, "A man is as unhappy as he has convinced himself he is." This unhappiness often stems from unspoken truths and unmet needs. By finding the courage to speak up, individuals reclaim their agency. Words also have the power to inspire and uplift. A simple phrase of encouragement can spark hope in someone who feels defeated. Sharing stories of resilience and wisdom can guide others through their struggles. The Stoics, through their writings, left a legacy of words that continue to inspire centuries later. Their teachings remind us that language is a gift that carries the potential to shape the world. However, the power of words comes with responsibility. Misused, they can harm, deceive, or manipulate. The Stoics emphasized the importance of honesty and integrity in speech. Epictetus advised, "Do not say a little in many words, but a great deal in few." This wisdom encourages us to choose words carefully, ensuring they serve the greater good rather than selfish aims. Mastering the art of articulation requires practice. It involves listening actively, observing how others communicate, and refining one's own approach. Writing, journaling, and engaging in thoughtful conversations are valuable tools for developing this skill. Over time, individuals become more adept at expressing themselves with clarity, confidence, and compassion. In a world where words often lose their weight amidst noise and distraction, the ability to articulate oneself effectively is a superpower. It is a skill that fosters understanding, builds relationships, and asserts one's presence in a meaningful way. By embracing the Stoic principles of clarity, honesty, and intentionality, individuals can harness the transformative power of language to navigate life with purpose and confidence. 33. Anger and other emotions, when refined and expressed constructively, can lead to personal empowerment. Emotions, particularly anger, are often misunderstood and mismanaged. Many people view anger as destructive, something to be suppressed or ignored to maintain peace. Yet the Stoics recognize that emotions themselves are not inherently harmful. It is how we choose to channel and express them that determines their impact. When refined and expressed constructively, emotions like anger can become catalysts for growth, self-awareness, and empowerment. Anger, at its core, is a response to perceived injustice. It arises when boundaries are crossed, expectations are unmet, or values are violated. While this initial reaction may feel overwhelming, it holds valuable insights into what matters most to us. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "How much more harmful are the consequences of anger than the circumstances that aroused it in us?" This wisdom reminds us that it is not anger itself, but our unexamined response to it that can lead to harm. To harness anger constructively, the first step is self-awareness. Acknowledge the emotion without judgment and examine its root cause. Ask yourself, what triggered this feeling? Is my anger justified? What action can I take that aligns with my values? This reflective process transforms raw emotion into deliberate action. For example, if anger arises from witnessing injustice, it can fuel efforts to advocate for change rather than fueling destructive retaliation. Constructive expression of anger requires clarity and control. Rather than lashing out impulsively, channel your emotions into communication or action that serves a purpose. Consider a workplace conflict. Reacting with hostility might escalate tensions, but addressing the issue calmly and assertively can lead to resolution. The Stoics believed in the power of reason to guide emotions. Seneca advised, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." By pausing before reacting, we create space for thoughtful response. Refined emotions can also enhance personal empowerment by deepening self-understanding. Anger, sadness, or frustration often highlight areas where we need growth or change. For instance, recurring anger over a lack of recognition might point to unasserted boundaries or unmet personal goals. By addressing these underlying issues, individuals can transform emotional pain into a source of strength and resilience. Constructive emotional expression also builds stronger relationships. When emotions are communicated with honesty and respect, they foster understanding and connection. Sharing feelings openly, without blame or aggression, allows others to see your perspective and encourages mutual empathy. This approach aligns with Stoic principles of fostering harmony and truth in interactions. Ultimately, emotions like anger are part of the human experience. Suppressing them leads to internal conflict, while unrestrained expression creates external chaos. The Stoics teach us to find a middle path, to acknowledge emotions, learn from them, and channel them purposefully. By doing so, we transform what could be destructive into a source of empowerment, growth, and meaningful action. 34. Societal structures often fail when truth and individual voices are ignored or silenced. The foundation of any thriving society is built upon the pillars of truth, dialogue, and individual expression. When these elements are disregarded, societal structures begin to crumble, leading to stagnation, division, and decay. History and philosophy repeatedly warn us of the dangers of silencing individual voices or ignoring uncomfortable truths. The Stoics, champions of reason and integrity, emphasized the necessity of truth as the cornerstone of a just and functional society. Truth, though often inconvenient, is the guiding light that steers individuals and societies toward progress. When societies suppress truth for the sake of comfort, convenience, or control, they create an environment where ignorance thrives. Marcus Aurelius declared, "If someone is able to show me that what I think or do is not right, I will happily change, for I seek the truth." This humility toward truth is essential for both personal and collective growth. Ignoring individual voices compounds this problem. Every person holds a unique perspective shaped by their experiences, knowledge, and values. Silencing these voices, whether through censorship, fear, or marginalization, deprives society of diversity and innovation. Consider the great thinkers, artists, and leaders of history. Many faced opposition and rejection in their time, yet their voices ultimately reshaped the world. Galileo's challenge to conventional wisdom, for example, faced fierce resistance but paved the way for scientific advancement. When societal structures prioritize conformity over truth, they suppress the very forces that drive progress. This creates a fragile foundation where problems fester beneath the surface, ultimately erupting into conflict or crisis. The Stoics understood that a society's strength lies in its ability to confront reality and adapt. Epictetus warned against self-deception, saying, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." The failure to embrace truth and individual voices also erodes trust. People lose faith in institutions that prioritize power or convenience over integrity. This disillusionment weakens social cohesion and creates an environment ripe for exploitation. In contrast, societies that value transparency, accountability, and open dialogue foster resilience and collective well-being. Fostering a culture that values truth and individual expression requires courage and effort. It means creating spaces where diverse perspectives can be heard without fear of retribution. It means valuing honesty, even when it challenges the status quo. This is not always easy, but as the Stoics teach, the pursuit of truth is worth the struggle. Seneca remarked, "Truth never perishes. It lives a wretched life, but always survives." On an individual level, each person has a responsibility to speak their truth and advocate for integrity. This requires both courage and discernment. It means challenging falsehoods, standing up for what is right, and listening with an open mind to others. By doing so, individuals contribute to a culture that values authenticity and progress. Societal structures succeed when they are built upon a foundation of truth and inclusion. Ignoring or silencing these elements creates a house of cards destined to fall. The Stoics remind us that truth is not always comfortable, but it's always necessary. By upholding truth and honoring individual voices, we create a society that thrives, adapts, and endures the tests of time. 35. The belief that humanity is a cancer reflects deep existential despair and self-hatred. The idea that humanity is a cancer to the earth is a sentiment that has gained traction in certain circles, fueled by environmental concerns, overpopulation fears, and the visible consequences of human actions on the planet. While it's undeniable that humans have caused significant harm to ecosystems, labeling humanity as a cancer is not only deeply flawed, but also reflects an undercurrent of existential despair and self-hatred. This belief denies the complexity and potential of the human spirit, oversimplifying our impact and ignoring the capacity for growth, creativity, and redemption. At its core, this belief is a manifestation of misanthropy, a disdain for humanity born out of frustration with its flaws. The Stoics, however, held a profoundly different view. They saw humans as rational beings, capable of great virtue and wisdom, even in the face of imperfection. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." These words reflect an appreciation for humanity's potential, even amidst its challenges. The idea of humanity as a cancer often stems from a sense of helplessness and despair. It is easier to condemn humanity as inherently destructive than to grapple with the complex realities of our impact and potential for change. This perspective, however, leads to nihilism and inaction. If humanity is inherently flawed and irredeemable, why bother striving for improvement? The Stoics rejected such defeatism, instead encouraging individuals to focus on what is within their control and take meaningful action to address problems. To frame humanity as a cancer is to deny the remarkable achievements that have come from human ingenuity and compassion. From groundbreaking scientific discoveries to acts of profound altruism, humans have shown time and again that they are capable of remarkable good. This potential for progress and redemption is what separates humanity from the destructive metaphor of a cancer, which grows without purpose or awareness. Critics of humanity's impact often overlook the role of intentionality and awareness in addressing these challenges. Unlike a cancer, humans can reflect on their actions, learn from mistakes, and consciously choose to change course. This ability to reason and adapt is a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Humanity's capacity to react constructively to its own missteps is evidence of its potential for growth, not its inherent destructiveness. Rejecting the notion of humanity as a cancer requires embracing a more nuanced perspective. Yes, human actions have caused harm, but they have also led to extraordinary progress in medicine, technology, and the arts. A balanced view acknowledges both the damage and the potential for healing. It shifts the focus from condemnation to accountability, encouraging individuals and societies to address issues constructively. Ultimately, the belief that humanity is a cancer reflects a deep-seated existential despair that overlooks the beauty, resilience, and potential of the human spirit. By rejecting this flawed narrative, we can adopt a more empowering perspective, one that values humanity's ability to grow, adapt, and create a better future. As Marcus Aurelius reminded us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one. Humanity is not beyond redemption, and every individual has the power to contribute to its progress. 36. Zero-sum thinking limits growth and innovation by framing life as a competition. Zero-sum thinking, the belief that one person's gain is inherently another's loss, is a mindset that has long stifled growth, collaboration, and innovation. Rooted in scarcity and fear, this perspective frames life as a perpetual competition where success must come at the expense of others. While it may seem practical in some contexts, this mindset ultimately limits possibilities and undermines collective progress. The Stoics, with their emphasis on interconnectedness and shared humanity, provide a powerful counterpoint to this flawed way of thinking. At its core, zero-sum thinking assumes that resources, opportunities, and success are finite. This belief fosters a competitive mentality where individuals hoard resources, guard ideas, and view others as threats rather than allies. However, human history tells a different story. The most transformative breakthroughs, from scientific discoveries to social advancements, have come from collaboration, not competition. When individuals and groups work together, they create solutions that benefit everyone, expanding the proverbial pie rather than dividing it. The Stoics recognize the interconnectedness of humanity and the importance of contributing to the greater good. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What is not good for the beehive cannot be good for the bees." This wisdom underscores the idea that individual success is deeply tied to collective well-being. Zero-sum thinking, by contrast, isolates individuals and pits them against one another, eroding the trust and cooperation necessary for true progress. Zero-sum thinking is particularly limiting in the realms of innovation and creativity. When people view ideas as finite resources to be protected, they stifle collaboration and hinder the exchange of knowledge. Consider the open-source software movement, which thrives on the principle of sharing and collaboration. By rejecting the zero-sum mindset, this community has created tools and technologies that benefit millions worldwide. This approach demonstrates that when individuals work together, they can achieve far more than they could in isolation. Beyond its impact on innovation, zero-sum thinking also affects relationships and personal growth. In friendships, workplaces, and families, this mindset breeds jealousy, resentment, and conflict. It creates an environment where people focus on outdoing one another rather than supporting mutual success. The Stoics remind us that true fulfillment comes not from competing with others, but from aligning our actions with virtue and purpose. Seneca observed, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Rejecting zero-sum thinking requires a shift in perspective, from seeing life as a competition to viewing it as a shared journey. This shift begins with a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity. Instead of fearing that someone else's success diminishes your own, recognize that their achievements can inspire and create opportunities for others. For example, when a colleague receives recognition for their work, their success can elevate the entire team, opening doors for future collaboration and growth. Adopting a non-zero-sum perspective also involves redefining success. The Stoics teach that external achievements, while valuable, are not the ultimate measure of a good life. True success lies in living with integrity, contributing to the greater good, and cultivating inner peace. By focusing on these values, individuals can free themselves from the need to compete and instead find fulfillment in their own path. Ultimately, zero-sum thinking is a self-imposed limitation that blinds individuals to the possibilities of growth and collaboration. The Stoics challenge us to look beyond this narrow perspective and embrace a mindset of abundance, cooperation, and shared purpose. By doing so, we unlock the potential for innovation, strengthen our relationships, and contribute to a world where success is not a competition, but a collective endeavor. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love. Life is not a race to be won, but a shared experience to be cherished and enriched together." 37. Responsibility, while essential, can become crushing without delegation and shared effort. Responsibility is one of the cornerstones of a meaningful life. It shapes character, builds trust, and fosters personal growth. The Stoics revered the concept of taking responsibility for one's thoughts, actions, and circumstances, emphasizing the importance of accountability as a virtue. However, responsibility, when taken to extremes or shouldered alone, can become a crushing burden. Without delegation and shared effort, the weight of responsibility can stifle creativity, drain energy, and lead to burnout. In the modern world, responsibility is often glorified to the point of self-sacrifice. People are encouraged to take on as much as possible, equating their worth with how much they can endure. Yet, this mindset overlooks the importance of balance and the collaborative nature of human existence. Marcus Aurelius understood this when he wrote, "Don't waste the rest of your life in doubt, for others can aid you in action." Delegation and shared effort are not signs of weakness, but of wisdom. The problem arises when individuals internalize the belief that they must handle everything alone. This self-imposed isolation not only intensifies stress, but also diminishes the quality of the work or care being provided. Consider a leader who insists on managing every detail of a project. While their dedication is admirable, their refusal to delegate prevents others from contributing their strengths. This creates bottlenecks, delays progress, and ultimately undermines the very responsibility they are striving to uphold. The Stoics teach us that responsibility does not mean doing everything ourselves. Instead, it involves recognizing our limitations and seeking support where needed. Seneca wrote, "It is not the weight of the burden, but the way in which we carry it that destroys us." Delegation allows us to distribute the load, ensuring that it is carried with care and efficiency rather than exhaustion and resentment. It also empowers others to grow, fostering a sense of shared purpose and collaboration. Effective delegation begins with trust. To share responsibility, one must have faith in the abilities of others. This requires letting go of perfectionism and the need for control, both of which can trap individuals in an endless cycle of overwork. By trusting others, you not only lighten your own load, but also create opportunities for others to develop their skills and confidence. This mutual support strengthens relationships and enhances collective resilience. Another key to balancing responsibility is prioritization. Not all tasks or obligations carry equal weight, and discerning what truly matters is essential. The Stoics remind us to focus on what is within our control and let go of what is not. Delegating minor tasks or those outside your expertise frees up time and energy for the responsibilities that align with your strengths and values. This approach ensures that your efforts are impactful rather than scattered. Finally, shared responsibility requires open communication. Whether in families, workplaces, or communities, clearly defining roles and expectations fosters harmony and prevents misunderstandings. When everyone understands their part, the burden is distributed evenly and the group functions as a cohesive whole. This collective effort aligns with the Stoic principle of interconnectedness, emphasizing that we are not isolated beings, but parts of a greater whole. Responsibility is essential, but it is not meant to be a solitary burden. By embracing delegation and shared effort, we can fulfill our duties with grace and effectiveness, preserving our well-being while empowering those around us. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Responsibility, when approached wisely, becomes a bridge to growth, connection, and purpose, rather than a weight that drags us down. 38. Truth and love are the antidotes to despair and chaos, requiring active pursuit in every action. In a world rife with uncertainty, division, and suffering, truth and love stand as beacons of hope. The Stoics understood these principles not as abstract ideals, but as essential forces that counter despair and chaos. Truth grounds us in reality, while love connects us to others, creating a foundation for meaning and resilience. However, truth and love are not passive qualities. They require active pursuit and intentional practice in every action. Truth, in the Stoic sense, is not merely about factual accuracy, but about aligning one's thoughts, words, and deeds with integrity. It demands honesty with oneself and others, rejecting illusions and self-deception. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This commitment to truth fosters clarity and stability, providing a firm footing amidst life's uncertainties. Love, as the Stoics defined it, is not limited to romantic affection. It is a deep, abiding connection to humanity and the universe. Epictetus emphasized the importance of embracing others as fellow travelers on life's journey, recognizing our shared struggles and aspirations. This perspective cultivates empathy, compassion, and a sense of belonging that can dispel isolation and despair. Despair often arises from a sense of disconnection, either from reality, others, or oneself. Chaos, on the other hand, stems from a lack of order and purpose. Truth and love address these conditions by restoring balance and fostering connection. Truth helps us confront the root causes of our suffering, while love motivates us to reach out and support one another. Together, they create a powerful antidote to life's darkest moments. However, pursuing truth and love is not without challenges. The pursuit of truth requires courage, as it often means confronting uncomfortable realities. It demands questioning assumptions, admitting mistakes, and staying open to growth. Love, too, requires vulnerability and effort. It involves showing kindness even when it's inconvenient, forgiving others when it's difficult, and extending compassion even in the face of rejection. The Stoics teach us that truth and love must be practiced daily in small and large ways. Speaking honestly, listening without judgment, offering help to those in need, and standing up for what is right are all acts that embody these principles. Each action, no matter how small, contributes to a world that is more grounded in reality and connected by compassion. In moments of despair or chaos, truth and love become anchors that keep us steady. They remind us that even in the darkest times, there is a path forward, a way to navigate life with integrity and purpose. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." This mindset transforms even the most challenging days into opportunities for growth and connection. Ultimately, truth and love are not just antidotes to despair and chaos. They are the foundations of a meaningful life. By actively pursuing these principles, we create a ripple effect that extends beyond ourselves, inspiring others to do the same. The world may be imperfect, but through truth and love, we can make it better, one action at a time. 39. Pursuing the truth requires letting go of control over outcomes, which can be deeply unsettling. The pursuit of truth is one of life's most profound endeavors, yet it is also one of the most challenging. Truth is not always comfortable or predictable. It often requires venturing into uncertainty and relinquishing the illusion of control over outcomes. This surrender can be deeply unsettling, but it is also liberating. The Stoics taught that seeking truth involves aligning with reality as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. To pursue truth is to embrace uncertainty and to accept that we cannot dictate where the path will lead. One of the reasons truth is so elusive is that we often approach it with preconceived notions or desires. We want the truth to validate our beliefs, support our plans, or provide clear solutions. However, truth is indifferent to our wishes. It unfolds on its terms, not ours. Marcus Aurelius observed, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This insight reminds us that while we can seek truth, we cannot control its outcomes. Our task is to remain open, curious, and resilient, even when the truth challenges our expectations. Letting go of control over outcomes requires humility. It means acknowledging that we don't have all the answers and that our understanding is always incomplete. This humility is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom. It allows us to approach life with a sense of curiosity rather than fear, seeing challenges as opportunities to grow rather than threats to our ego. Consider the discomfort of seeking truth in personal relationships. asking difficult questions, or confronting uncomfortable realities, such as unspoken grievances or unmet needs, requires vulnerability. There is no guarantee that the conversation will lead to resolution or reconciliation. Yet, avoiding these truths only perpetuates disconnection and misunderstanding. By letting go of the need to control the outcome, we create space for genuine dialogue and deeper connection. The pursuit of truth also demands perseverance. It is not a one-time discovery, but an ongoing journey. Along the way, we may encounter truths that are painful or inconvenient. We may realize that we were wrong or that our plans need to change. The Stoics understood that these moments are not failures, but opportunities for growth. As Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." Each challenge we face in seeking truths builds our resilience and clarity. To navigate the discomfort of letting go, we can draw on Stoic practices such as self-reflection and detachment. Regularly examining our beliefs, actions, and motives helps us stay grounded in reality. Detaching from specific outcomes allows us to focus on the process of seeking truth rather than fixating on a desired result. This mindset not only reduces anxiety, but also enhances our ability to adapt and learn. Ultimately, pursuing truth is an act of courage. It requires stepping into the unknown, accepting the possibility of discomfort, and trusting in our ability to navigate whatever arises. By letting go of control over outcomes, we free ourselves from the constraints of fear and illusion, opening the door to greater understanding and authenticity. The path may be uncertain, but it is also rich with possibility. 40. Truth is not static. It emerges through an ongoing, often uncomfortable process of dialogue and exploration. Truth is not a fixed destination, but a dynamic process. It evolves through dialogue, exploration, and the willingness to confront uncertainty. The Stoics recognize that truth is rarely simple or absolute. It's shaped by context, perspective, and the interplay of ideas. This ongoing pursuit can be uncomfortable, as it often requires questioning assumptions, revisiting beliefs, and engaging with viewpoints that challenge our own. Yet, it is precisely this discomfort that drives growth and understanding. The notion that truth is fluid can be unsettling. We often seek definitive answers and clear boundaries, hoping to anchor ourselves in certainty. However, the Stoics teach that clinging to rigid truths can limit our understanding and hinder our ability to adapt. Epictetus wrote, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." This humility is key to embracing the evolving nature of truth. By remaining open to new insights and perspectives, we allow truth to deepen and expand. Dialogue plays a crucial role in this process. Through conversations with others, we encounter ideas that challenge our thinking and broaden our understanding. These exchanges are not always easy. They may spark disagreement or force us to confront uncomfortable realities. Yet, it is through this friction that clarity emerges. The Stoics valued dialogue as a tool for refining thought and uncovering wisdom, emphasizing the importance of listening as well as speaking. Exploration is equally essential. Truth cannot be fully grasped from a distance. It must be experienced and tested in the real world. This requires curiosity, courage, and a willingness to make mistakes. When we engage with diverse perspectives, experiment with new approaches, and reflect on our experiences, we uncover truths that cannot be found in theory alone. This iterative process mirrors the Stoic practice of continuous self-improvement, where each step forward builds on the lessons of the past. The discomfort of this journey is unavoidable, but also transformative. Each time we confront a challenging truth, we strengthen our resilience and deepen our understanding. This process may involve admitting mistakes, letting go of cherished beliefs, or facing aspects of ourselves that we'd rather ignore. Yet, these moments of discomfort are also moments of growth. As Marcus Aurelius observed, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. By reframing discomfort as an opportunity, we can embrace the process of seeking truth with courage and curiosity. Truth's fluid nature also calls for adaptability. What is true in one context may not apply in another, and our understanding of truth may change over time. This does not mean that truth is relative or meaningless. Rather, it reflects the complexity of life and the need for nuance. The Stoics remind us to approach truth with discernment, balancing openness with critical thinking. By doing so, we navigate the evolving landscape of truth with clarity and purpose. In the end, the pursuit of truth is not about finding a final answer, but about engaging with life in a meaningful way. It is about remaining curious, open, and willing to learn, even when the path is uncertain. This process, though often uncomfortable, is also deeply rewarding. It connects us to the world, to others, and to ourselves in profound and transformative ways. As the Stoics understood, truth is not a destination. It is a journey that shapes and enriches every aspect of our lives. 41. People often craft narratives to avoid grappling with deeper truths, which limits their potential for growth. Humans are natural storytellers. We create narratives to make sense of our experiences, to find meaning in chaos, and to navigate the uncertainties of life. But not all stories we tell ourselves serve us well. Often, we craft narratives to shield ourselves from uncomfortable truths, constructing realities that feel safe but are far from genuine. While these self-protective stories may provide temporary relief, they ultimately limit our potential for growth. Consider how often people rationalize their actions or inactions. Someone might say, "I'm not ready for this opportunity," when the deeper truth is a fear of failure. Another might claim, "I don't have time to prioritize my health," when the underlying issue is a lack of discipline or commitment. These narratives feel comforting because they absolve us of responsibility, but they also keep us trapped in cycles of avoidance and stagnation. The Stoics warned against self-deception, emphasizing the importance of facing reality as it is. Marcus Aurelius urged, "You have to assemble your life yourself, action by action." This means dismantling the false narratives we use as shields and confronting the truths we've been avoiding. Growth comes not from hiding behind excuses, but from embracing the raw, often uncomfortable reality of our lives. Why do we avoid deeper truths? Fear plays a significant role. The truth often demands change, effort, or acknowledgement of our flaws, and these can feel overwhelming. It's easier to stay within the confines of our carefully crafted narratives than to face the unknown. But in avoiding the truth, we deny ourselves the chance to evolve. The Stoics understood that growth and discomfort are inseparable. Only by confronting what we fear can we transform it into strength. Breaking free from limiting narratives requires self-awareness and courage. Begin by questioning the stories you tell yourself. Are they grounded in reality, or are they convenient fabrications? For example, if you believe you're not talented enough to pursue a dream, examine the evidence. Is it truly a lack of talent, or is it a lack of practice or confidence? By challenging your assumptions, you uncover the deeper truths that can guide your growth. Another critical step is accepting responsibility for your life. This doesn't mean blaming yourself for every setback, but recognizing that you have the power to influence your path forward. The Stoics taught the dichotomy of control: focus on what you can change and let go of what you cannot. When you take ownership of your choices, you reclaim agency over your narrative, transforming it into a story of empowerment rather than avoidance. Growth also requires embracing discomfort. The truths we avoid are often the ones we most need to face. Whether it's admitting a mistake, letting go of a toxic relationship, or confronting a fear, these moments of discomfort are where growth begins. As Seneca observed, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. By leaning into the challenges we'd rather avoid, we build resilience and clarity. Ultimately, crafting honest narratives is not about perfection, but about progress. It's about being willing to see yourself as you are, not as you wish to be, and using that awareness to move forward. The truth, though often uncomfortable, is a powerful teacher. When you stop hiding from it, you unlock your potential for growth, authenticity, and fulfillment. 42. Having a nemesis or adversary can be motivating, but the ultimate battle is internal, against one's own flaws and weaknesses. The idea of a nemesis is deeply ingrained in human culture. From myths and legends to modern stories, we are drawn to the concept of an adversary who challenges us, pushes us to our limits, and forces us to rise above. In many ways, having a nemesis, whether a rival at work, a competitor in sports, or a critic of your ideas, can be motivating. It can spark determination, sharpen focus, and drive you to achieve your goals. But while external adversaries can challenge us, the ultimate battle is always internal. The Stoics emphasize that the most significant struggles we face are within ourselves. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The greatest obstacles are not external enemies, but the flaws, fears, and weaknesses that reside within. It is our self-doubt, procrastination, anger, and insecurity that hold us back far more than any external adversary. Why is the internal battle so crucial? Because it determines how we respond to the challenges around us. A person who has conquered their inner turmoil is unshaken by external conflicts. They see criticism as feedback, competition as an opportunity, and setbacks as lessons. Conversely, someone who is at war with themselves will find adversaries everywhere, projecting their insecurities onto others and misinterpreting challenges as threats. External adversaries can serve as mirrors, reflecting the weaknesses we need to address. A rival who outperforms you may highlight your need for greater discipline or focus. A critic who questions your ideas may reveal areas where you need to refine your arguments. Instead of resenting these individuals, the Stoics teach us to see them as teachers. Their presence pushes us to confront our internal battles, turning external challenges into opportunities for growth. However, becoming too fixated on external adversaries can be detrimental. It can lead to a cycle of comparison, resentment, and misplaced energy. When you define yourself solely in relation to your nemesis, you give them power over your life. The Stoics remind us that true strength comes from within. Instead of obsessing over others, focus on mastering yourself, your habits, emotions, and thoughts. This internal mastery is the foundation of resilience and fulfillment. The ultimate battle is against your own flaws and weaknesses. It's about overcoming fear with courage, replacing laziness with discipline, and transforming anger into constructive action. This battle is ongoing, and it requires vigilance. As Epictetus advised, no man is free who is not master of himself. The goal is not perfection, but progress, a daily commitment to becoming a better version of yourself. Cultivating self-awareness is key to winning this internal battle. Pay attention to your reactions, especially in moments of conflict or stress. Are you responding out of fear, pride, or insecurity? By identifying your triggers, you can begin to address the underlying issues. This process requires honesty and humility, but it is also deeply empowering. Another essential practice is self-discipline. The internal battle is not won in grand gestures, but in daily habits. Each time you choose to act with integrity, to persevere through difficulty, or to practice patience, you strengthen your inner resilience. These small victories build over time, creating a foundation of inner strength that no external adversary can shake. In the end, the greatest adversary you will ever face is yourself. The external nemesis may come and go, but your inner challenges are constant companions. By focusing on mastering your internal struggles, you not only neutralize the power of external adversaries, but also unlock your true potential. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Let this be your guiding principle as you face the ultimate battle within. 43. Committing to excellence eliminates easy escape routes, forcing individuals to confront their inadequacies head-on. Committing to excellence is not a comfortable choice. It is a relentless pursuit that strips away illusions, exposes weaknesses, and demands constant growth. When you set your sights on excellence, you eliminate the easy escape routes that allow you to justify mediocrity or avoid self-reflection. The Stoics understood this concept deeply, emphasizing that true progress requires facing one's shortcomings with courage and determination. Excellence is not about perfection. It's about striving to do your best in every situation. This commitment creates a mirror, reflecting both your strengths and the areas where you fall short. It forces you to acknowledge the gaps in your skills, discipline, or mindset. For many, this confrontation is uncomfortable, even painful, but the discomfort is where growth happens. By eliminating excuses and shortcuts, you create an environment where self-improvement becomes not just possible, but inevitable. Consider the story of an artist who sets out to create a masterpiece. They could settle for a passable result, hiding flaws under layers of paint or dismissing their mistakes as part of their style. But if they are truly committed to excellence, they won't take these escape routes. They will study their craft, revise their work, and seek feedback. This process is arduous and humbling, but it leads to mastery. Excellence, as the Stoics taught, is a journey, not a destination. It is the act of continuously refining yourself, not just for external rewards, but as a practice of virtue. When you commit to excellence, you also develop resilience. The easy path often feels appealing because it avoids failure or discomfort. But by choosing the path of excellence, you build the mental toughness to face challenges head-on. You learn to see setbacks not as barriers, but as stepping stones. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." Each challenge you overcome strengthens your ability to tackle the next one, creating a cycle of growth and improvement. However, the pursuit of excellence requires discipline. It's easy to be swayed by distractions, excuses, or the temptation to take the path of least resistance. This is where the Stoic practice of self-reflection becomes invaluable. Take time each day to evaluate your actions. Did you give your best effort? Were there moments where you chose convenience over commitment? By asking these questions, you hold yourself accountable and stay aligned with your goal of excellence. One of the greatest barriers to excellence is the fear of inadequacy. Many people avoid striving for greatness because they fear discovering that they're not as capable as they'd like to believe. But the Stoics remind us that acknowledging our weaknesses is not a sign of failure. It's the first step toward improvement. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This principle applies to self-assessment as well. Be honest with yourself about where you stand and use that honesty as a foundation for growth. Ultimately, committing to excellence transforms not only your outcomes, but also your character. It teaches you to embrace challenges, value effort over results, and take responsibility for your actions. It eliminates the escape routes that lead to complacency and pushes you to confront your inadequacies with courage and resolve. As you embrace this path, you'll find that excellence is not just a goal, but a way of life, one that brings out the best in you and inspires others to do the same. 44. Avoiding hard decisions under the guise of flexibility often leads to stagnation and mediocrity. In today's world, flexibility is often hailed as a virtue. The ability to adapt, compromise, or leave options open is seen as a sign of wisdom and pragmatism. While flexibility has its place, it can also become a mask for indecision and avoidance. When we shy away from hard decisions under the guise of being flexible, we risk stagnation and mediocrity. The Stoics, who valued clarity and purpose, would caution against this tendency. Hard decisions are uncomfortable because they demand commitment. Choosing one path means letting go of others, and this can feel daunting. What if the choice turns out to be wrong? What if it leads to failure? These questions can paralyze us, making the illusion of flexibility seem appealing. By keeping our options open, we convince ourselves that we're being wise, but in reality, we're often just avoiding responsibility. The Stoics emphasized the importance of decisiveness and action. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This principle encourages us to act with integrity and purpose. Avoiding decisions, even under the pretense of flexibility, is a form of inaction. It prevents us from making progress, both in our goals and in our personal growth. Consider a leader who hesitates to make a critical decision for their team. They tell themselves they're being flexible, waiting for more information, or considering all options. But in reality, their indecision creates confusion and stalls progress. The team loses momentum and opportunities slip away. This scenario illustrates how avoiding hard decisions can have far-reaching consequences. Flexibility, when misused, becomes a barrier to achievement. Making hard decisions requires clarity of values and priorities. The Stoics believed in focusing on what truly matters and letting go of distractions. Before making a decision, ask yourself, what aligns with my principles? What will move me closer to my goals? By grounding your choices in these questions, you ensure that your decisions are purposeful and meaningful. Another reason people avoid hard decisions is the fear of failure. Choosing a path means taking a risk, and the possibility of failure can be intimidating. But the Stoics remind us that failure is not the enemy. It is a natural part of growth. Seneca said, "The bravest sight in the world is to see a great man struggling against adversity. Hard decisions may lead to setbacks, but they also create opportunities to learn and improve. By avoiding these decisions, we deny ourselves the chance to grow. Hard decisions also build character. They force us to confront uncertainty, weigh our options, and take responsibility for the outcomes. This process strengthens our resolve and teaches us to trust our judgment. Over time, we become more confident and capable, able to navigate life's complexities with greater ease. Ultimately, avoiding hard decisions under the guise of flexibility is a form of self-sabotage. It keeps us in our comfort zones, preventing us from reaching our full potential. The Stoics teach us that a meaningful life requires courage, clarity, and action. By embracing hard decisions, we break free from stagnation and move closer to the life we truly want to live. As you face difficult choices, remember that flexibility should not be an excuse for avoidance. Use it wisely, but don't let it hold you back. Commit to your values, take decisive action, and trust in your ability to adapt and grow. In doing so, you'll find that even the hardest decisions become stepping stones to a life of purpose and fulfillment. 45. True discipline requires submitting to a structured process, which many perceive as oppressive. Discipline is often viewed as restrictive, a cage that limits freedom and spontaneity. Yet, the Stoics saw discipline as the cornerstone of a meaningful life, not as a constraint, but as a tool for liberation. True discipline isn't about harsh self-denial or blind obedience. It's about committing to a structured process that aligns with your goals and values. Paradoxically, this submission to structure can feel oppressive to those who misunderstand its purpose. At its core, discipline is about creating order from chaos. Without a structured process, our actions become scattered and our efforts lack direction. Imagine a musician attempting to master an instrument without following a practice regimen. The result would be frustration and stagnation. The same principle applies to life. Structure provides the framework needed for growth and achievement. The Stoics emphasized this through their own practices, such as daily reflection, journaling, and adhering to principles. However, many resist discipline because it feels limiting. The idea of adhering to a schedule, setting boundaries, or following rules can clash with our desire for freedom. But this resistance often stems from a misunderstanding of what discipline truly offers. Far from being a cage, discipline is a path to mastery. It frees you from the chaos of indecision, procrastination, and inconsistency. By submitting to a structured process, you gain clarity and control over your actions. Consider the example of an athlete training for a competition. Their daily routines may seem grueling: early mornings, strict diets, and intense workouts. To an outsider, this structure might appear oppressive. But to the athlete, it's a source of empowerment. Each disciplined action brings them closer to their goal, strengthening both their body and their mind. The Stoics believed that discipline, when aligned with one's purpose, becomes a source of joy rather than a burden. The fear of discipline often arises from the discomfort of self-confrontation. A structured process requires accountability, which means facing your flaws and failures. This can be daunting, but it's also necessary for growth. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Discipline forces you to take responsibility for your actions. shifting your focus from external circumstances to your own choices. True discipline is not about rigidity or perfection, it's about consistency and effort. The Stoics understood that progress is made not through grand gestures, but through small, deliberate actions repeated over time. By committing to a structured process, you build habits that reinforce your values and goals. These habits become the foundation of your character, shaping who you are and what you achieve. Ultimately, discipline is an act of self-love. It's a commitment to your own potential and a recognition of what you're capable of achieving. While it may feel oppressive at first, this perception fades as you begin to see the results of your efforts. The structure that once seemed restrictive becomes a source of freedom, enabling you to live with purpose and intention. As you embrace discipline, remember that it's not about denying yourself pleasure or spontaneity. It's about prioritizing what truly matters and creating a life that reflects your values. The Stoics remind us that discipline, far from being oppressive, is the key to unlocking our fullest potential. 46. Hard work and conscientiousness remain the strongest predictors of success, yet they are often dismissed as oppressive structures. In a world that increasingly values convenience and instant gratification, hard work and conscientiousness are often viewed with skepticism. They are dismissed as relics of an outdated system or even labeled as oppressive structures designed to exploit individuals. Yet, the Stoics and countless other thinkers throughout history have recognized these qualities as the bedrock of achievement and fulfillment. Hard work and conscientiousness remain the strongest predictors of success, not because they are easy, but because they cultivate resilience, purpose, and mastery. Success in any field requires effort. Whether it's building a career, maintaining relationships, or pursuing personal growth, hard work is the common denominator. The Stoics understood this deeply, emphasizing that nothing worth having comes without effort. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." This sentiment highlights the importance of facing challenges head-on, rather than avoiding them in search of an easier path. Conscientiousness, the quality of being thorough, responsible, and dedicated, is equally vital. It ensures that your hard work is not wasted on meaningless pursuits, but directed toward meaningful goals. Being conscientious means paying attention to detail, staying true to your commitments, and holding yourself accountable. It's the discipline to do what needs to be done, even when it's inconvenient or unpleasant. Yet in modern discourse, these qualities are often maligned. Hard work is portrayed as a tool of exploitation, and conscientiousness is dismissed as rigid or overly demanding. This perspective, while understandable in the context of toxic work environments or unrealistic expectations, overlooks the empowering aspects of these traits. Hard work and conscientiousness are not about sacrificing yourself for others' gain. They are about investing in your own growth and success. Consider an entrepreneur building a business from the ground up. Their hard work involves long hours, difficult decisions, and moments of doubt. Their conscientiousness ensures that they stay focused, meet deadlines, and uphold their values. To outsiders, this might look like an oppressive grind, but to the entrepreneur, it's a labor of love, a process that brings their vision to life and creates opportunities for others. The Stoics remind us that effort and responsibility are essential to a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." This call to action underscores the importance of taking initiative and embracing the challenges that come with striving for excellence. Hard work and conscientiousness are not obstacles to freedom, they are pathways to it. Of course, the pursuit of success must be balanced with self-care and boundaries. The Stoics were not advocates of mindless toil. They believed in working with purpose, not for the sake of work itself, but for the greater good it could achieve. Hard work, when aligned with your values, becomes a source of fulfillment rather than burnout. The dismissal of hard work and conscientiousness as oppressive structures often stems from a misunderstanding of their true nature. These traits are not about conforming to external expectations, but about taking ownership of your life. They empower you to shape your destiny, overcome obstacles, and achieve goals that bring meaning and satisfaction. Ultimately, hard work and conscientiousness are acts of defiance against mediocrity and complacency. They challenge you to rise above your circumstances and strive for something greater. As you embrace these qualities, you'll find that they are not oppressive, but liberating, enabling you to create a life that reflects your highest aspirations. The Stoics teach us that success is not handed to us. It is earned through effort, responsibility, and the courage to persevere. 47. Zero-cost environments, such as free services, devalue effort and produce unintended negative consequences. In a world increasingly dominated by zero-cost environments, the allure of free services is undeniable. From social media platforms to subscription trials, the promise of something for nothing seems like an unqualified win. However, the Stoics would caution us against accepting such offers without scrutiny. Beneath the surface of free lies a cost that often goes unnoticed: the devaluation of effort and the creation of unintended negative consequences. At first glance, a zero-cost environment appears harmless, even beneficial. Free services remove barriers to access, enabling more people to participate in the digital economy or enjoy conveniences they might not otherwise afford. But this ease comes at a price. When something is free, it often fosters complacency and diminishes our appreciation for its value. The Stoics believed in the importance of effort and reciprocity, recognizing that what is gained without work is rarely cherished or respected. Take, for example, a free online course. While it offers knowledge at no financial cost, the absence of investment often leads to a lack of commitment. Participants may sign up with enthusiasm, but drop out at the first sign of difficulty, having no stake in their success. Compare this to a paid course, where financial investment creates a sense of accountability. Here, effort is more likely to align with the perceived value, resulting in greater dedication and outcomes. The unintended consequences of zero-cost environments extend beyond individual effort. These services often come with hidden trade-offs, such as privacy breaches, manipulative algorithms, or a dependence on advertising revenue. When users are not the direct customers, they often become the product. Social media platforms, for instance, thrive on user engagement, incentivizing divisive content and fostering addictive behaviors. The result is a society more polarized and distracted than ever before, a steep cost for something ostensibly free. The Stoics emphasized personal responsibility and the value of conscious decision-making. They would urge us to examine the hidden costs of zero-cost environments and consider how they influence our behavior and priorities. By taking these services for granted, we risk becoming passive consumers, disconnected from the effort and intentionality that give life its meaning. Reclaiming agency in a zero-cost world begins with mindfulness. Instead of blindly accepting free services, Consider their true value and the trade-offs involved. Are they aligning with your goals and principles? Or are they leading you toward unintended consequences? Investing time, effort, or resources in pursuits that matter to you can help counteract the devaluation inherent in free offerings. The Stoics remind us that what we invest in is what we value. By engaging with effort and intentionality, we create meaning and forge connections that transcend monetary costs. Whether it's learning a skill, building relationships, or creating something new, the effort we put forth reflects our commitment to growth and authenticity. In doing so, we resist the complacency of zero-cost environments and embrace the virtue of purposeful living. 48. Writing, conversation, and creative outlets are essential for refining thoughts. Without them, ideas remain vague and undeveloped. The Stoics understood the power of thought and expression. They believed that clarity of mind was essential for living a virtuous life, but they also recognized that thoughts alone are not enough. To refine and develop ideas, they must be externalized through writing, conversation, and creative outlets. Without these practices, our ideas remain vague and underdeveloped, lacking the depth and precision needed to guide our actions and understanding. Writing, in particular, was a cornerstone of Stoic practice. Marcus Aurelius's Meditations is a testament to this. Through daily journaling, he examined his thoughts, confronted his fears, and reinforced his values. The act of writing forced him to articulate his ideas clearly, turning abstract concepts into actionable principles. This process not only refined his thinking, but also provided a record of his inner journey, a map of his philosophical growth. Conversation, too, plays a vital role in shaping ideas. Dialogue challenges us to defend our beliefs, consider alternative perspectives, and refine our arguments. The Stoics valued dialectic, the art of reasoned discussion, as a tool for uncovering truth. Seneca often wrote letters to his friend Lucilius, using their correspondence to explore and clarify philosophical ideas. These conversations, though written, exemplify the power of dialogue in refining thought. Creative outlets, whether through art, music, or storytelling, offer another avenue for expressing and developing ideas. Creativity allows us to explore emotions, challenge assumptions, and connect with others on a deeper level. By translating thoughts into tangible forms, we gain new insights and perspectives, enriching our understanding of ourselves and the world. Without these practices, our ideas risk stagnation. Thoughts kept solely in the mind are like seeds left in a drawer. They have potential, but they cannot grow. Writing, conversation, and creative expression provide the soil, water, and sunlight needed to nurture these seeds into flourishing ideas. They challenge us to confront our biases, explore our values, and push the boundaries of our understanding. The Stoics would encourage us to cultivate these habits with intention. Journaling, for instance, can be a daily practice for self-reflection and growth. Writing about your thoughts and experiences helps clarify your emotions and identify patterns in your behavior. Similarly, engaging in meaningful conversations, whether with friends, mentors, or even through reading and responding to others' ideas, sharpens your intellect and broadens your perspective. Creative outlets, too, should be embraced, not as distractions, but as tools for self-discovery. Whether you paint, write poetry, or compose music, these activities allow you to externalize your inner world, making it more accessible and comprehensible. They also create opportunities for connection, as your expressions resonate with others who share similar experiences or emotions. In a world dominated by noise and distraction, these practices become even more essential. Writing, conversation, and creativity anchor us to what matters, helping us navigate the chaos with clarity and purpose. They transform fleeting thoughts into enduring insights, shaping our identity and guiding our actions. The Stoics remind us that the pursuit of wisdom is an active process. It requires effort, reflection, and expression. By engaging in writing, conversation, and creative outlets, we refine our thoughts, deepen our understanding, and live more authentically. These practices are not luxuries. They are necessities for a meaningful life. 49. Avoiding responsibility or relying on absolutes to escape challenges often leads to greater dissatisfaction. Responsibility can feel like a weight, something that drags us down when life's challenges seem overwhelming. In a culture that often glorifies freedom and choice, it's tempting to avoid responsibility altogether or cling to absolutes as a way of simplifying complex situations. But the Stoics remind us that true satisfaction comes not from avoidance or rigidity, but from embracing our role in life with clarity and purpose. Avoiding responsibility may bring temporary relief, but it often leads to a deeper sense of dissatisfaction. When we refuse to take ownership of our choices, we surrender our agency and give up the chance to grow through adversity. Life's challenges, while uncomfortable, are what shape us. By avoiding them, we also avoid the personal transformation that comes from working through difficulty. Consider how relying on absolutes, a rigid sense of right and wrong, or an unwillingness to adapt, limits growth. Absolutes provide a sense of certainty, but they often oversimplify the complexities of life. For instance, someone who believes they must always succeed without failure might avoid taking risks altogether. In doing so, they miss opportunities for learning and self-discovery. The Stoics teach that life is not black and white, but a spectrum of experiences that require discernment and flexibility. Embracing responsibility means recognizing that we are not victims of circumstance, but active participants in our lives. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wisdom invites us to shift our perspective. Instead of seeing challenges as burdens, we can view them as opportunities to exercise courage, patience, and resilience. Taking responsibility also allows us to confront our fears and limitations honestly. When we stop blaming others or external factors, we begin to see where we can improve. This self-awareness is empowering. It helps us make better decisions and take meaningful action. While the path of responsibility is not always easy, it leads to a deeper sense of fulfillment and a life aligned with our values. Relying on absolutes or escaping responsibility might seem like an easy way out, but it often creates more dissatisfaction in the long run. The Stoics encourage us to face life's uncertainties with openness and a willingness to adapt. By embracing responsibility and letting go of rigid thinking, we gain the freedom to grow and live authentically. 50. Relationships and commitments. Like marriage, involve unavoidable struggles that are necessary for growth. Relationships are among the most rewarding yet challenging aspects of life. They require patience, effort, and a willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. The Stoics understood that relationships, particularly commitments like marriage, involve struggles that cannot be avoided. But they also saw these struggles as essential for personal growth and the deepening of human connection. Modern culture often paints relationships in an idealized light, emphasizing romance and happiness while downplaying the inevitable challenges. But true partnership, the Stoics would argue, is not about avoiding difficulty, but navigating it together. Struggles in relationships, whether they involve communication issues, differing values, or external pressures, are not signs of failure, but opportunities for mutual growth. Consider a couple facing financial hardship. This situation, while stressful, can also become a chance to develop resilience and deepen their bond. By working together to overcome adversity, they build trust and learn to support each other. The Stoic principle of sympathia, or interconnectedness, reminds us that our lives are intertwined and that challenges, when faced collectively, can strengthen relationships. Commitment, especially in marriage, requires accepting imperfection. No one enters a relationship without flaws, and expecting perfection, either from ourselves or our partner, is a recipe for disappointment. The Stoics emphasize the importance of focusing on what is within our control. In relationships, this means working on our own behavior, communication, and understanding, rather than trying to change or control our partner. Struggles in relationships also teach us about ourselves. They reveal our triggers, fears, and insecurities, offering a chance for self-reflection and growth. For example, a disagreement over priorities might uncover deeper values or unresolved issues that need attention. Instead of avoiding conflict, the Stoics would encourage us to approach it with honesty and compassion, using it as a tool for strengthening the relationship. Growth in relationships often comes from enduring discomfort and learning to adapt. Seneca wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." This wisdom applies to relationships as well. The effort we invest in navigating challenges not only strengthens the bond, but also shapes us into more understanding and empathetic individuals. Avoiding struggles in relationships might seem appealing, but it leads to stagnation. True intimacy and connection come from facing difficulties together and emerging stronger. By embracing the unavoidable struggles of commitments like marriage, we honor the depth and authenticity of our relationships, creating a foundation for lasting growth and fulfillment. Life is a journey filled with challenges, growth, and the constant pursuit of wisdom. The Stoic principles we've explored remind us that we have the power to shape our responses, overcome internal struggles, and live authentically in alignment with our values. But the journey doesn't end here. Each insight is a stepping stone toward becoming the best version of ourselves. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these lessons resonated with you the most? Do you see areas in your life where these principles can make a difference? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. I read everyone and can't wait to engage with your perspectives. If you found value in this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on content that inspires and empowers. Together, let's keep building a community that thrives on wisdom and action. See you in the next video.